the Circuit of the Americas. The biggest names in world-class motorsports come here. Host to today's Craftsman Truck Series event, the twists and turns of this track are loyal to no one, not even the winningest driver in Truck Series history, Kyle Busch.
Wow, that was thrilling.
I'm gonna be the one to be.
It's a thrill ride like no other.
Caution, caution, caution.
Time to get you ready for racing. It's Truck Race Day at Circuit of the Americas.
The time has arrived for the Craftsman truck teams to make right and left-hand turns as the series rolls into Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. It's the first road course race of the year and one that is known to test both veteran and rookie drivers alike. Who can make it happen in the Lone Star State today? We are going to find out. Welcome in to Race Day on FS1 from COTA. I'm Caitlin Vinci alongside my friends here on the Craftsman Truck Series as usual. Todd Bodine, Trevor Bain here. Great to see the two of you as always. First road course race of the year. You ready for this? You excited for this race? I feel like you are.
I am excited. I love road course racing, first of all. All the racetracks I didn't get to race in my career, COTA is at the top of the list of the ones I wish I did. It's fast, it's technical, but most of all, you talk to the drivers and they have a blast racing on this racetrack. I wish I got to do it.
Didn't you win enough in the state of Texas?
A couple times.
He still wants to get some more.
It's a different city,
It's a different city, different track.
Right.
Yeah, so what are you looking forward to
Well,
today?
I love road racing as well. I wish I could have run at COTA. But to your point, they didn't start racing here till 2021. Yeah. Now we've got 2 races under our belt, a whole 2 races of experience. They're coming back for a 3rd time. These teams know a little bit more what to look forward to, and the drivers now have some experience here of knowing how to get through those S's and turn 1.
Yeah, these drivers are going to have their hands full. We're going to break down the track plenty throughout the course of the show, but I want to go back 1 week to Atlanta Motor Speedway. What an incredible event it was, and a wild finish, I might add, as well, for Christian Eckes. Take a look at this. Guys, what were we seeing here in the closing bit of this race?
A lot of carnage. A lot of stuff going on, Caitlin, and it led us to a pretty much a green-white checkered here where Christian Eckes survived. These guys did not survive, and you see Nick Sanchez battling here. Ben Rhodes tank slap on the wall. There was a ton going on in the closing laps.
Yeah, we talk about Atlanta being like speedway racing now.
Yeah.
That looked just like Daytona.
It sure did. But it was a big win, of course, for Christian Eckes. What does this do for him moving forward?
Well, you know, it allows him the opportunity to do different things. And I talked to him when he was here the other day on Race Hub, and I said, you know, you can drive a little more aggressive, and Charles DeKnight, the crew chief, can be a little more aggressive on the box. And he said, well, you know, that's great, and we're going to do that, but we want to win this regular season championship. That's what we're out for. Get those 15 extra points going into playoffs. So I was a little caught off guard by it.
Well, this was a huge win for Christian Eckes, no doubt about it. But the number 2 truck that came in second, unfortunately for him, he was leading there in turn 3 and 4. You're going to see the battle out front while the crash is happening behind. Nick Sanchez with a huge save. This could have ended his day as well as Christian Eckes if he lost it there. Comes across the line in second, getting his best run of the season. I'm really impressed by both of these drivers so far this season.
Yeah, great showing out of a rookie driver, no question about it. So that was Atlanta. Now let's focus on Circuit of the Americas, which is today. Who are we watching? What are the drivers you're keeping an eye on for the win?
Well, the cream keeps rising to the top, and honestly, when you look at the top 10, it's like an oval has moved over to the road course somehow. Carson Hocevar, Grant Enfinger, Zane Smith, and Eckes, again, he was at a super speedway last week. Now he's back at a road course. They've all had top 10s in both of their starts at this racetrack. So now they're starting the top 10 again. I think it's going to be more of the same.
Well, I'm going to look at the other end of the field a little bit. All right, we got Parker Kligerman, who's one of the best road racers in the series, won up at Mid-Ohio. He blew the motor up in qualifying, so he has to start in the back of the pack. Matty D, who we expect, he's been really well this year. We expect him to run well in a road course. He's got a lot of experience. friends, they didn't qualify that well, so he's going to be coming from middle of the pack. And Matt Crafton, they had a tire rub before qualifying. They decided not even qualify, and they started getting a provisional, so he's coming from the back.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of action coming forward.
Yes, we do. Many drivers who are going to have to make their way to the front pretty quickly. Speaking of the front, let's take a look at the starting grid and what it looks like for these drivers as they're rolling off for the race today. Not a whole lot of surprise here. A pair of Cup drivers are on the front row, which would be Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch, Trevor.
Yeah, we mentioned all the truck drivers, the full-time guys in the top 10, but these two right here, there's no doubt about it. They're going to be tough to beat. Ross Chastain got the biggest win of his Cup career here at this racetrack, and now he's going to try to win the truck race.
So the Cup guys are up front, but there's plenty of regulars right there in the mix.
Let's not count our regulars out. We got a lot of good guys, and I tell you, I like Ty Majeski. You know, he's not known for his road course prowess, but he did really well last year. Ended up third at Sonoma, qualified third today. I think they finally figured out what he needs on road courses. We'll see how he does today.
Yeah, we will. There's plenty of drivers to keep an eye on when it comes to the win today. It's very unpredictable. So time now, though, to go out to Circuit of the Americas and join our pit reporter, boots on the ground, Jamie Howe, who has the latest on our pole sitter, who is Ross Chastain, of course. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Caitlin. Yeah, Ross Chastain, you talked about it, returning to Truck Series action this weekend, and he really rattled the whole field yesterday in practice and qualifying. That part wasn't surprising. He got his first win here just 1 year ago, but the part that was shocking was that he is clear of the field by nearly half a second. Afterwards, his crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., told him that was fun, but the real work is still to come. Ross continued that conversation by saying, you know what, I need to be held accountable from start to finish. We've got to learn how to evolve this truck with the changing track conditions and with the changing competition. He said, I don't want anybody to take the speed in qualifying for granted today because it's going to be an uncomfortable challenge today, Caitlin.
Thank you, Jamie. Great insight there. We're going to check in with you throughout the show. So we're in the midst of a 5 straight stretch of races. Of course, last week was Atlanta. Christian Eckes was victorious. Today, the road course race of Austin, Texas. And then we're on to Texas once again, though, on a 1.5 mile racetrack after that. Then we head to the Bristol Dirt in Tennessee early April. Close out this 5 stretch of races at the Paperclip Martinsville short track racing. That is going to be exciting. No question about it. We're just getting started on race day. Just ahead, Christian Eckes made the most of Atlanta, as we talked about, getting the big victory. He will sit down with us next to talk about his career turnaround. Plus, Nick Sanchez, one of the rookies, already turning heads. He will join us from the track next. Welcome back to Austin, Texas, the Lone Star State capital, home, of course, to Circuit of the Americas. It's a great city for racing, great venue to host NASCAR, of course, this weekend as well. And let's take a look now at Christian Eckes in the 19 truck, the most recent race winner, starting 5th for today. He has started top 10 in all of his Circuit of the America races so far. And he was a big winner just last week. He has won before, of course, in the series, but it had been since 2021. Now he has gotten a win and a spot into the postseason following his Atlanta victory. Good for Christian Eckes and company. And Christian has been in the Truck Series since 2018, but this year he finds himself with a new team. And needless to say, the year has started off stronger than ever. All finishes in the top 10, including a win. Christian sat down with Race Day to talk about his mindset heading into Atlanta and what he hopes to prove this season.
Front row, this is your race. Do what you do best.
My mindset going into this past race was pretty much the mindset I've had all year, which was to make MHR a winning program and to show that we can contend for a championship and race wins on a weekly basis.
Christian Eckes, who's been so strong.
Atlanta was really tough to pass and to do a lot of things, especially when you get a pit road penalty, which, yeah, that's my bad.
Christian was actually penalized on that last set of pit stops.
These truck races are super tough and super crazy, and you have to be 100% on your game to win races.
Christian Eckes wins the race.
It's been a tough off season, but I'm driving harder than I ever have. I got a lot to prove to the people who know they are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was just a couple months of thinking about things, and a lot of things I wish I did differently. It gave me time to think and reflect on what I need to do better as a race car driver, as a leader at a team. I feel like I've acted on this year and kind of righted the ship, to say at least.
We got it! Yes! Yeah, you know who that's for.
Mentally, I feel like I'm more capable than I've ever been by a long shot. I'm so excited to go to the racetrack each and every week, to drive as fast Silverados as I have, and to be with a really great team. So I'm having a lot of fun for sure.
Always fun for race car drivers when they're winning, of course. We heard him saying post-race he feels like he has something to prove. I think it's safe to say he's proving it. Right, Todd? He
is proving. He's got a little chip on his shoulder he's got to get off. But, you know, being successful in this sport to me is a lot about your situation and the position you're in. And we thought in the past that being with KBM was going to be the right situation. Being at ThorSport was going to be the right place. And it just didn't turn out to work that way. And I think now he's come to McAnally Hilgeman Racing, and this is the right situation. You know, Bill has put a lot of good people in place right now, surrounded him. They've changed the team. You've talked about that. And Christian's in the right mindset now. He really is. I think that his experience level, what he's done in the past and places he's been, is going to help him get further with his team.
He could be dangerous moving forward. And he's coming into COTA with the swagger of a win, right? That always helps you guys.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he has made the best first impression with his new team that you can make. Go win, go run good. And that's exactly what they were looking to do. To your point, sometimes a reset is just what a driver needs. You think about Joey Logano at Joe Gibbs Racing, and he makes that shift to Penske, and he starts winning. And that's what Christian Eckes needed. He just needed that reset. Now he's got a group of people that really believe in him because he's proven it on the racetrack. Absolutely. And that's tough to battle against.
Yeah, Christian Eckes hoping he can just keep that momentum rolling right into COTA this weekend. Well, another driver had a strong run last time out was the rookie Nick Sanchez. So impressive, of course. At Atlanta right now, he is standing by out at the racetrack with Jamie Howe.
And that second place finish was even more impressive, given the fact that they had to come back up through the field, make some extra pit stops for some damage. Nick, in your mind, what did that experience teach you about the team around you?
Yeah, you know, it just shows that my team doesn't give up and they fight hard. And, you know, they bring me a really fast number 2 Gainbridge Chevy every week. And I think nothing's changed from Daytona to COTA. So it's good to finish second and actually finish a race, you know, just be more patient as a driver and finally get to the checkered flag. But to be that close, it hurts, and we want to win. Anything but a win to us is nothing.
It's a very different challenge this weekend with the road course. You have some experience from ARCA at Mid-Ohio. You raced at Watkins Glen as well. What is it going to take today for you to take it one step further and get some stage points?
Yeah, I think just pacing yourself and keeping the truck under you and not burning your stuff up in the first couple laps. You know, yesterday was a big learning experience for me, you know, first couple laps at COTA, and learning where I need to work on myself as a driver and what I think, the direction I think the truck needs to go throughout the race. So it's going to be a challenge today, and especially racing the 41 and the 51 Cup guys. So this race is probably a stage 3 for them in the Cup race, but for me it's going to be my probably longest race I've done.
You've got a front row seat. You start on the second row today. Caitlin?
Thank you, Jamie. Good point. He's starting up close to the front. So he is a part of a big crop of young rookie drivers. Who's impressed you from the group so far?
Well, that guy right there that we were just talking to has been very impressive. That run last week at Atlanta, finishing second. But, you know, we wondered who was going to step up in that KBM stable. I know he's at Rev Racing, but they race out of the same shop. And I feel like it's Nick Sanchez right under Kyle Busch. He's really carrying that team, acting like an experienced veteran when he's a rookie, you know, and that's great. Corey Heim is the other one that I'm kind of looking to step up a little bit. Tricon Garage, I don't feel like they've been as strong as I expected out of the gate this year, but Corey Heim is the one that I'm looking at for the rest of the season to see if he can battle for some wins.
Yeah, Corey's been great, obviously, anytime he's been in the truck in the past. So what's the learning curve like for these guys? Because I know you helped coach quite a few of them on this.
Yeah, I've coached a couple of these kids. It's, you know, that's the biggest thing they face right now is that learning curve. You know, they've raced cars their whole lives. These trucks are totally different than a car, even though different than an ARCA car on a speedway or mile and a half. They just drive different. And that's what they're up against, is that learning curve, trying to figure out the drafting of the trucks, trying to figure out some of these racetracks they've never been on.
Green flag stops maybe today.
Exactly, yeah. So that's their biggest challenge.
So we're talking about the young drivers, of course, and one is celebrating a big birthday today, and it would be Taylor Gray. He can be running full-time now in the Truck Series here on Out. What a great way to spend your birthday at the track, right,
Yeah,
guys?
you know, after about 25, you forget it's your birthday anymore, but his 18th is a big one. He can finally go racing full-time.
That's right.
Exactly. 18's big for a racer.
It sure is. That's a good present to have when you're a race car driver. All right, so to come here on race day, Carson Hocevar has had a relatively quiet start to the season, but he's also been quietly good on the road courses. He will join us from the track next. Plus, the road course that has its share of challenges. Where are the spots to watch on track? Our guys are going to discuss it all coming up next. back to race day with a look at Parker Kligerman's truck. The last winner, actually, for the Truck Series on a road course that took place at Mid-Ohio. He will start 17th for the race today. Looking forward to seeing how he does. What about this guy, Tyler Ankrum? He is in the Texas spirit with the Stetson hat. He's been solid on those road courses in the past. He will roll off 12th for the race today. So that brings me to the best Austin average finish for the full-time drivers. You see him here. Zane Smith, he leads the group with a 4.5. Tyler Ankrum also on the list, along with Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes, and Carson Hocevar. All these guys have had good showings on these style tracks in the past. So right now, Jamie is with a win hopeful, and that would be Carson Hocevar.
You saw that list. Carson Hocevar, though, is only one of 5 drivers to have finished in the top 10 in both of the previous stops here. When you think about previous results at a racetrack, what role does that play in your confidence?
I'm just shocked I even have previous stats to go off of. I feel like not too long ago I was here for the first time, and I feel like I'm not getting too old, but I feel like at the same time 20 is starting to get old. I forget, and when people ask me how old I am, I'm 20 now. But no, it's this Wex Chevrolet and East Motorsports, we've always had a really good road course package that we've been able to build on, and Phil Gould's so smart, man, and Mike Hillman to add with him, and just the whole team to have 2 really fast trucks week in and week out. It's really fantastic for this whole team, and the 45 is getting quicker too. So just our whole group is starting to gel together, and we reminded each other that it's all one team under one roof. And Al, when he walks in, he likes what he sees, and you know, hopefully when he gets to the racetrack, where he likes what he sees here too.
You know, that experience is an interesting point. You have your teammate as Ross Chastain. I know you learned from him yesterday. Caitlin, Carson's going to start 6th today, but he did pick up a whole second over his performance last year.
Thank you, Jamie. Good note to make there. So Carson seeming confused about the fact he's getting older. Hey, it happens.
20's old.
But yeah, so old. But he's been solid on these tracks. What do you expect from him today?
I expect him to run up front for sure. You know, like he said, he's gotten better at this racetrack. You know, we know that he's good on road courses. He qualified on the pole at Sonoma with the broke foot and ended up crashing. But so he knows how to do this. And you know, with Mike, like you said, Mike Hillman Jr. coming over there, that's added another dimension, and it's showing up every week. And today, you know, it's close to home. Al Neese only lives 45 minutes from this racetrack.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great for Carson to bring that big victory for Al Neese? So let's talk about the other driver we looked at, Tyler Ankrum. He was 7th at this race a year ago. You think he could be a threat for the victory?
I do, and I wouldn't say that every week. You know, since his win back in 2019 at Kentucky, Tyler's been a little bit hit or miss, but at road courses, in his 8 starts, he has 6 top 10s, which is a really impressive stat. I mean, just to survive these things is hard enough, but he's been really good, especially here at COTA. He's got a 7th and a 3rd. But back to Carson saying he's old. You can't say you're old till you stop your growth spurt. I mean, he's taller every time I see him on TV.
That is a good point. He just keeps getting taller and taller. Okay, so this is the 3rd trip for Circuit of the Americas for the Truck Series. And for some of the series regulars, Austin is still a bit of an enigma.
COTA's really fun. I don't know if it's built for trucks.
Reluctantly getting single file as they flow through the S's here.
I have a love-hate relationship with COTA.
Too many straightaways, sharp corners, too many places for some of the kids to be able to get it run at you.
This was just oof.
Check out this wow. This was just a wild dive.
You're having to slow down, almost stop at a few corners, and when you do that, you just promote that guy behind you to lay the bumper on you.
Time you ask, 40 drivers to come and do that, it's going to be tough on equipment and tough on drivers.
Yeah, our truckers, they don't like to be single file. They want to race you every lap. They want to race you hard.
Probably because it's so hot, and then we're already chaos and chaotic and making dumb decisions at times.
Even though it's huge, even though it's got 20 corners, it somehow finds a way to bring your competitors close to you.
Look at this battle. What a gaggle we have here.
Turn 1 in itself is like absolutely insane when we're all going down in there, and you're basically going wide open down a long straightaway and into a pretty much 180 U-turn.
There's a lot of places where you can outbrake a competitor, maybe outbrake 2 or 3 competitors.
Here is Alex Bowman stepping out of line. Stuart Friesen to the inside of Busch. They're 3 wide.
You know, you got to kind of flex the muscle to make those passes.
Okay, so drivers have a lot to keep their eye on when it comes to this race. There's no question about that. They sound a little apprehensive there as they were walking through some of the triple spots. Oh, I certainly don't blame them. Okay, I want to take a deeper dive, though, into this racetrack and bring up the track map so that you guys can walk me through some of the places that are going to be keeping these drivers' hands full. So here it is, the lovely Circuit of the Americas. What's up first, Trevor?
Well, every bit of these corners are going to keep them busy. But turn 1, you saw the clip there with Stuart Friesen, Kyle Busch, and Alex Bowman. Bowman last year going into turn 1. It cost Kyle Busch the race. Zane Smith was thankful he won. Here's another shot of it. You've got a big elevation change coming into that corner. Kind of hard to tell here. Almost a 180-degree corner, and then you go back down the hill to turn 2. Really tough on the brakes to max it out there.
Absolutely. Turn 2 leads into the S's. To me, probably the most technical part of this racetrack. You carry a lot of speed through there, carry some momentum, get down to turn 6 there, and you actually use a little brake. Yesterday in qualifying, this is where Ross Chastain beat Kyle Busch. He beat him through here a half a second.
Well, you come out of those S's, and guess what you got next? A little bit more S's. These are a little slower again. You're kind of decelerating through this section. But off of turn 9, when you leave that corner, you're not going to get on the brakes again until all the way in turn 11. So you got to get speed off that corner, go through the transition of turn 10, and then this is a huge opportunity passing zone, Todd.
But to me, it's important to get through this corner so you get back to the throttle. You see this long straightaway? Well, they're still
They're still crashing. They're locking up brakes right now.
It's a great place to run into somebody,
and run off the racetrack.
Absolutely, yeah. So we get off at turn 11. You got to get the throttle. This long straightaway, 160 mile an hour running into turn 12. Really easy to overdrive it or drive into somebody, get them turned around. But this corner is important because you got to get in there good without overdriving it. And you see Stewart went off here a little too deep. He lost 3 spots right there.
Yeah, you got a little runoff to work with there. You know, as you get to turn 13, 14, Todd, this is a tough corner. But then back to the carousel. You know, we have a carousel corner at Road America. We have a little bit of one at Watkins Glen. This one's different because it baits you in to be a little narrow. You drive in deep, try to get back to the gas early. I've never raced there in person. It was tough in iRacing, I'll tell you that.
Turn 19 is a sharp corner, but these guys try to straighten it out, and they run off into that black you see there to the right and just make that corner as wide as they can. Turn 10, get off on it, get back to the throttle, and get down that straightaway.
That's the easiest TV I've ever done.
I was going to say, you got anything to say?
That was the toughest lap we ever made.
You wanted to race that place. I mean, that looks a little intense. All right, one driver who's in the field is Kaz Gralla. We're looking forward to seeing him. Double-duty driver, running both truck and Xfinity, starting 10th. Don't forget that Xfinity race. It is coming up following the trucks later today here on FS1. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, they will be in the booth along with our Adam Alexander for the race. So we look forward to that. Now, in celebration of NASCAR's 75th anniversary, the NASCAR Foundation and Speedway Children's Charities announced a 75-hour give-a-thon that will begin later this season. Interested nonprofits are encouraged to register at NASCARDayGiveathon.org by May 1st. And Kyle Busch, he has yet to win at COTA in the Truck Series. Can today be the day? We're going to find out. Kyle Busch, he is certainly always a threat. What about that guy, the past champion of Ben Rhodes? He sat down with our Michael Waltrip. That conversation is coming up in just a bit.
The best anglers in the world battle for the biggest bass and $1 million in cash. Boom! The Bassmaster Classic continues tomorrow on Fox and FS1.
Welcome back to Race Day from Austin, Texas, with a look at the 38 truck of Zane Smith. He will start 7th. Of course, won the season opener at Daytona, and he is the reigning champion in the series. What about the 52, Stuart Friesen? He will start 15th, still winless on the year, hoping to get that turned around today. I want to go back, though, to 1 year ago when it was Zane Smith. He was able to survive a lot of late race adversity. You see him there. Led 11 laps on the way to the victory, and that was one of 4 wins that he had last season, which, of course, included the title. Front Row Motorsports, they have been dominant at this race so far, winning with Todd Gillen in 2021, also with Zane last year. So to hear Zane's mindset, we once again go back out to the racetrack and join Jamie, who is standing by with Mr. Smith.
When it comes to road course momentum, Zane Smith certainly has it on his side. He won this race a year ago, finished 2nd in both of the other road courses. There's some more speed. There's some more rookies in the field this time around. What level of aggression do you anticipate out there?
I'm really not sure. I think it'll be a way different race today with the no stage caution. So I'm excited for it. I kind of like it that way. Obviously, last year we got both stage wins, and what that got me was starting 20th in the final stage with Kyle starting on pole. So when you're in that situation, your work is cut out for you. So I feel like our speed go forward could be a little bit better, but it was pretty strong on a long run. So I really don't know quite what I have. I think I only made 4 or 5 laps yesterday, it feels like. So excited to get going and hopefully rebound after last week.
Another new rule that's in effect for the race today is the choose rule is now active on road courses. In your mind, what role is that going to play?
I don't know how much of a difference you'll really see. I feel like people will just really be choosing shortest lane. I don't know if there's a big advantage getting into one here. So yeah, for me, I'll be choosing shortest lane.
All right, the road to defensive mechanism for him is going to take having to figure some things out, Caitlin.
Thank you, Jamie. We're certainly going to keep an eye on Zane Smith. You know, he is the defending champion, and sometimes it's hard to follow up a title with another one, but it seems like he is on track to maybe make that happen. I know it's early, but hey.
They definitely picked up right where they left off. You know, when we talked earlier about the situations, right? And Christian, well, Zane is in the right situation, man. It just fits him. Crew chief is great. The trucks are great. Everything about it fits his style, and they picked up where they left off. It's kind of funny to listen to him right there. The guy that won the race last year really has no idea what to expect going into turn one. That was funny.
That's funny.
What do you think about Zane?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about 5 races coming up of different, racing styles, different disciplines with Atlanta, now road racing, dirt racing. What I've learned is you can't count Zane Smith out at any of these disciplines of racing, especially here at COTA. Last year, I didn't know he'd even be a threat at a road course. Goes out, wins the race, beats 2 Cup drivers. So Zane Smith, the run that they're on, and you think about it, last year, the stage breaks with cautions, they had to work against that. This year, they don't have to. They can pit with everybody else. They don't have to worry about those points.
You mentioned the Cup guys. There's some ones who could play spoilers. Who are you watching?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the 2 in the front, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch. Kyle was leading the race last year. Ross has been so good at this racetrack, good in the Cup car, good in the truck, and we mentioned earlier how big of a gap he has to the field, over half a second. You don't see that very often.
No, the guy I'm looking at is, I think the sleeper here is Kaz Grala. Kaz is really good on road courses. He grew up road racing. A couple years ago here, he was kicking butt and taking names in the rain here. So I think that he's got a great shot today if he's got a good truck.
There's a lot of players who can make this happen, no question about it. So for more on what to watch for today's race, we join the voices in the booth and say hello to Jamie Little, Kevin Harvick, and Michael Waltrip. Great to see Kevin with the group today. So what are you guys watching for today's road course race in Austin?
Yes, thank you so much, Caitlin. We're excited. This is the first road course race of the season. It's your first road course race from the booth, so welcome, Kevin. And I'm going to ask you to follow up what they're talking about. Who do you think has something, if anything, for that front row of Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch?
Well, that front row is going to be tough to beat, but I still like Parker Kligerman. Obviously, he won a road race here in the Truck Series last year, and I think his experience, if he can keep his truck from getting torn up in turn one, I do like his experience and what he brings to the table in speed. And I think he will be somewhere in contention before the end of the race.
I was sitting there listening to Zane Smith, and I'm all in on Zane. I like your Parker pick, though. That's pretty cool. He's got a long way to go, but he's got a long time to get there. But Zane's starting inside the top 10, and also he's got that win in his pocket. We talk about strategy, and we're going to talk a whole lot today about these crew chiefs' playbooks and how they go about attacking this race. Zane's got to win. He could forego winning a stage to get that track position near the end of the race, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Well, aside from the drivers, so many things to watch for today with strategy. You name it, there's a lot of new things. So where do you think this race is won and lost?
You know, that's what I love so much about COTA is the unpredictability. I can't tell you, Jamie, how this thing is going to play out. I can tell you what will happen as soon as the first caution comes out and how the teams will react to that, Kevin. But you know how unpredictable this day will be.
Yeah, and on top of that pit box today, there's going to be a lot of say in who wins or loses this race. But you're going to have a little bit of luck in making that call because you don't know when the cautions are going to fall, or you're going to make a full fuel run. So when we get one of those 2 scenarios, then we'll see how it starts to play out.
We heard it here first, and there's no stage breaks. The choose cone is in effect. We can't wait to get things fired up. We're coming up next. Caitlin?
Thank you, Jamie. Great insight there. You 3 have a great time up in the booth. We look forward to hearing you. So let's look at some numbers to know for the trucks here in Austin, Texas. There's been 18 different winners in the last 18 road course races. 4 previous road course winners are in the field today. 3 is the number of Christian Eckes' consecutive top 10 so far this year. And a 1.6 is Zane Smith's 2022 road course average finish. So not too bad for him. And here's another number you need to know. It's a 56, as in 56 days. The Truck Series race at North Wilkesboro. It is fast approaching, of course. So you can't get a ticket, though. You can catch the race on Fox on Saturday, May 20th. You certainly don't want to miss that. And there was on-track action this week at North Wilkesboro as Goodyear held a tire test for select Craftsman Trucks and Cup Series teams. Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, and Corey Heim participated. They were the truck representatives. So the trucks raced twice at the Speedway in series history, but you got to go all the way back to 1995 and 1996. So let's talk about this. On Sunday, you could be a big winner as there's another free shot to win on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Scan the QR code to download the app and make your picks for tomorrow's Cup race. This week's jackpot is $10,000. So just ahead on race day, the past champion, there he is, Ben Rhodes. He has yet to go to victory lane so far this year, but he sat down with Michael Waltrip for a very candid conversation about racing and family. That story is just ahead. More race day is next on FS1.
Drop me to Texas, I'll meet you in Austin. Roll down the window now. Show me the desert and take me to your
Who doesn't love the sights and sounds of Austin, Texas? It's such a great city and venue for racing. And there's a look at the 98 truck of Ty Majeski. He is starting third for the race today. One of the drivers who made a lot of noise last season, had multiple wins. He's hoping to maybe make that happen once again today. So his teammate is the 2021 Truck Series champion, Ben Rhodes. He starts in 13th today. He has an average finish of 7th here in Austin in the first 2 Truck Series races run at COTA. So Ben sat down with Michael Waltrip to talk racing, family, and road courses.
Ben Rhodes, the dominant truck early on.
I don't even know what to say. Giving it all he's got. Wow.
Ben Rhodes just took control of this race.
Michael Waltrip asked me on the radio, did you mean to stay out? And the real answer is no.
You won on Bristol dirt, but it's been about a year ago. You raced for a championship, obviously second, had a chance to win that. You getting a little antsy about not being in the victory lane lately?
Yeah, I am actually. You know, a lot of second place finishes last year, and that's great. It's great to try to build a championship that way, but luckily for us, we've been able to get wins every single year for the past, 4 or 5 years now. We want to keep that trend going, but it'd be nice to get multiple, 3, 4, 5, you know, that really makes you dominant in the season. And look, it makes the playoffs so much easier. You know, tiebreakers sometimes, 1, 2 points. It'd be nice to kind of cruise one round to the next.
A lot of changes at ThorSport over the winter. You added Haley Deegan as a teammate. You got a new crew chief. How's all that working for you?
You know, it's fun to interact with Haley. She brings a lot of personality to the team. But with that, she has my crew chief, all of my trucks from the past few years. I know that her team well, but I'm getting acclimated to mine now. Yeah. What truck we running this weekend? I'll forget the number. I won't even have like a history in my head of where I ran that. And that means something as a driver. It's just a frame of reference, really.
I know you love the road courses. You won at Daytona on the road course, top 5 here a year ago. How you feeling?
Yeah, certain road courses. And luckily for me, COTA's one of them that I like.
What? Tell me about turn 1. I'm an old race car driver. I would love to drive up that hill as hard as I could and hit the brakes. It's got to feel like you're Superman.
Well, you've got connections, so we need to make that happen. Well, you know what's crazy about turn 1 is there's this bump that is developed where everybody hits the brakes the same mark. And of course, that upsets the truck as you get into the braking zone and try to make the tight corner. You run into somebody really easy.
Racing is great, and sometimes mentally it's just so all-encompassing. You're a new dad, Theo, 7 months old. How has it been? I guess the winter was really nice, wasn't it, being there with him all the time?
Yeah, winter was awesome. Living in Kentucky right now, it's been tough because our team is in Ohio. The simulator with Ford is in North Carolina. And then we race on the weekends. So I'm going here, there, everywhere. It's really tough. Luckily, my wife, Caitlin's amazing. The hard part is definitely night times, though, because if he starts crying, you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy, I got to race in the morning. Can we just, like, tone it down a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Great interview there with Michael and Ben. Hey, you can relate to having a lot of kids and trying to race. Yeah, you have a lot more than Ben. But let's talk about expectations for him. He said he likes the road course race out at COTA. What do you think he might do tonight?
Yeah, Ben had 2 top 10s at this racetrack in his 2 starts. But I heard something there that it's kind of like a little seed of doubt that I hear in Ben's voice, talking about his team being over with Haley Deegan. And that's an obstacle, you know, for him to have to overcome when you're not familiar with the trucks that you're driving. You're not familiar with the team that you're working with. That's been their strong suit every year, as Ben just seems to get better all year. So I look to see what he can do with this team this season.
What about a Grant Enfinger, another guy who's been kind of sneaky good on these style tracks? What do you think we could see from him?
There's no reason Grant can't go on and win this race, I think, right? Average finish here at Coda, 7th. He's good on road courses. He's been good at all the different road courses. But to me, Grant he's like the veteran driver that you always look at to be solid. He's always going to be there. He's not going to make mistakes. And on a road course, that's what you got to do, is be solid and not make mistakes.
If you stay on the pavement, you can have a top 5 day.
Stay on the black stuff.
There you go. That's easier said than done, right? A little bit. So, okay, let's take a look at some notable starting positions for the race today. Ross Chastain, as we've talked about, is on the pole. Alongside him is Kyle Busch. There's Grant Enfinger. 8th will roll off 8th. Those 3 drivers in yellow down at the bottom, Parker Kligerman, Matt DiBenedetto, Matt Crafton, they are going to the rear for adjustments. So those teams will certainly have some work to do if they hope to get the victory today. We're getting closer and closer to racing out at Circuit of the Americas. You see the pit crews, everybody getting situated. A little over 13 minutes until the command. Our race picks, guys. You ready to throw down some picks?
Wonder who we're picking, Todd.
I know.
You know you're picking.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out.
Stay with us to find out.
Austin, Texas. One of the nation's fastest growing cities. But for good reason. A big city with that small town charm, known as the live music capital of the world, where sounds ring out all across the beautiful landscape. People flock from all over to experience the world's greatest festivals. The music inspires the supporters of Austin FC and is the soundtrack to all forms of racing at Coda. So today, as NASCAR takes center stage, there's only one thing left to do. Let's keep Austin weird.
We're going to keep Austin weird today for this truck race. All right, here's Matt Crafton. What do we think? Could he be the guy, Tom?
I don't know. The old guy's coming from the back. It'll be fun to watch.
Yes, it certainly will. Never count out the veteran. What about a newbie? Corey Heim. He is one of the guys who is hopeful he could potentially get the big win today.
Yeah, this is only his 3rd road course start, though, Caitlin. First time here at Coda. Was really fast at Mid-Ohio, where he was on the pole last year. It'll be exciting to watch him learn as he goes today.
One driver not new to Coda and not new to winning there, of course, is Ross Chastain, the pole sitter, Todd.
Yeah, he won the Cup race last year. Can he win the truck race today?
We're going to find out what the Melon Man has in store for us. Okay, time now, though, to go ahead and make our race picks, who we believe can get it done out at Circuit of the Americas today. And
I get to go first?
I think so.
Y'all let me go first a couple weeks ago and didn't learn your lesson at Vegas.
Pick that low-hanging fruit. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle Busch. I mean, you're going to leave it there.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. He had to do it. Someone had to pick Kyle Busch.
Not me.
He won last week, so you did good. You've been doing solid on your picks so
I'm going to
far,
win. I'm going to win again today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ty Majeski's going victory lane.
Wow.
There you go.
Didn't see that coming.
He is.
I like that pick. Okay, I'm going with one of the drivers that we heard from earlier, and that would be Zane Smith.
That's a good pick.
I'm the one who probably didn't really go out on the limb, did I?
I don't think any of us did. Maybe he did.
I did for sure, but last year's winner, that's not on a limb at all.
I normally pick the obscure ones. Today I'm trying to pick somebody else.
Going for the
I
win.
want to see if that fares well for me. Okay, we're getting closer, of course, to racing out at Circuit of the Americas. So now we need to head out to Austin, Texas, to get the pre-race ceremonies underway so we can get racing here for the Truck Series. Here they are, pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise as you are able and remove your hats as the Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as NASCAR Cup Series driver and 2023 Daytona 500 winner Ricky Stenhouse Jr. offers today's invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, I come before you today to ask for your peace and your presence. Be with those affected by the tornadoes last night in my home state of Mississippi. Be with them as they recover and rebuild through this difficult time. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful weather you bless us with today to go racing in this great state of Texas. We ask for your hand of protection over the fans, these officials, crew members, and drivers as they go out to compete and put on a show for everyone here and at home today. We ask that you help us glorify you in all that we do. We thank you for sending your son to die on the cross for our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here to sing God Bless America, please welcome Christian recording artist Peyton Keller.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All right, we're closer to racing. We've talked about turn 1. How intense is it going to be once we start this thing?
I think it's going to be pretty big.
Going up that hill and a bunch of trucks in a wide. Who's going to come out
Everything's bigger in Texas, so why not send it into turn 1?
All right, for Todd, Trevor, and myself, that does it for us. We got to go racing out at Circuit of the Americas. Join the guys in the booth and say hello, of course, to Jamie Little.
Sunshine and blue skies, the perfect combination to go racing at Circuit of the Americas. Welcome to the Xpel 225, live from Austin, Texas.
Welcome to Austin. Let's get weird. The Truck Series rolls deep into the heart of Texas for the 4th race of the season. There's been a new face in Victory Lane each week. So who'll be king of the road today? Everything's bigger in Texas, and this place is no exception.
This is what racing's all about.
A unique challenge awaits.
Wow.
A winding road filled with rights and lefts, twists and turns, and a whole lot of drama is sure to follow.
We're getting ready to see some crazy action with our truckers.
It's time to go racing in the Lone Star State. The Craftsman Truck Series starts now on FS1.
We are so happy you are joining us today. A beautiful day in Austin, Texas. We have 3 races of action coming your way, but we are kicking it off with the Truck Series. I'm Jamie Little, and we're happy to have Michael Waltrip once again and Kevin Harvick. And with everything this man has accomplished in his career, I think a lot forget. He ran in this Truck Series for many years, 19 wins. So welcome back, Kevin, first off. But you just got out of your Cup car. What are the track conditions like for these drivers right now?
Well, it's hot, and I can tell you as a driver, the first hot day of the year definitely gets your attention, so they will have to deal with the heat today. But the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to take care of your truck in turn 1 on the initial start. When you get to turn 1 here, there are several lanes. If you get pushed to the outside of the curb, it gets really rough, and you need to make sure the fenders don't rub the tires, Mike. But hey, don't lose any spots either.
That's a heck of a task. They were wrecking all the way down that straightaway. And you know, I'm in Austin. I like to get weird with the best of them. But today, I want to talk about computers and strategy and engineers and crew chiefs. They're going to play a big role in this race today. And there's going to be differing strategies. We're not taking stage breaks. We're going to award stage points, but no breaks. So, for example, look at Ross Chastain. He might pit around lap 6, doesn't need the stage points because he's a Cup guy, and then around 23 and be set to go to the finish. Ben Rhodes, I've got him pitting just after the 2 stages because he needs every point he can get in the championship. And Zane Smith, he's a bit of a hybrid. He's already got a win. He knows he's going to go race for a championship. So he might pit around lap 8 or 9 or so in the first stage and forego those stage points and then race to the end of the second stage and try to gain those points. I know it sounds a little confusing. It isn't. And I'm here with Kevin Harvick, NASCAR champion, to walk you through it all.
Yeah, so many unknowns. We're excited for this one.
Well, I can tell you, what if that all doesn't happen, Mike?
Oh, that's
because
right.
really, this race is going to unfold when you either make the first green flag run and have to pit, or the first caution comes out. When the first caution comes out, if it comes out, then the strategy starts to unfold. And then if it's those laps aren't on your plan, you better make a new plan while you're sitting on top of that pit box. So the crew chiefs will be very important today, and what happens with the strategy.
That's why we love racing. We don't know. There's so much unpredictability, but one thing is true, there are a lot of storylines. We have 2 pit road reporters covering all the action, Heather DeBow and Jamie Howe. Jamie, you're up first.
Well, with no stage breaks today, it really increases the likelihood that we're going to see some green flag pit stops, and we don't see them that often anymore. So what changes? Well, from an execution standpoint, really nothing. They still need fuel, they need tires, and any desired adjustments. But it's where the human element comes into play, especially for that race car driver behind the wheel. Now, when they're at race pace, the speed limiter comes up a lot faster. So no speeding on pit lane, clean into the marks so that the crews are able to do their work over the wall. But then when they exit pit lane, they also have to keep in mind that that race is still going out on the racetrack, and their tires are not going to be up to temperature for 3 or 4 corners. They're going to have to stay patient so they don't go any further back. Heather?
Well, the team with the best pit stall for today's race is defending race winner Zane Smith. Now, why is pit stall number 1 the best? It is the easiest stall to get in and out of. Now, drivers will have a clear vision when they're hitting their marks coming into this pit stall. Also, they will not have other trucks around them blocking them in. But one thing they might want to keep their eye on is, depending on what's happening during pit stops, other trucks might be coming up pit road here, and it does narrow up quite a bit as they head up the hill here, so they'll want to avoid contact because that could be costly later in the race. Jamie?
Thank you, Heather. Certainly a place we will keep our eyes on. Well, you see it there, 36 trucks ready to go for the first road course race of the season. Let's now go trackside for the command of fire engines.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, let's welcome the service director from Porsche Austin, James Purpura.
Drivers, start your engine!
Engines are fired at one of the most beautiful tracks on this circuit. 42 laps of twists and turns await. This is Austin. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. We're getting ready to start the 4th race of the season. And Michael and Kevin, how about you guys take us around for a little Craftsman Truck Series track description?
Well, I can tell you from a driver's standpoint, this is a lot of fun for a driver to be able to just be so technical with the vehicle, put it in the right spot and make lap time. But it all starts in turn 1. You go up the hill and then you have to come all the way back down the hill and go through the S's with rhythm, but don't cut it too close. And get up the hill into turn 11, and then Mike.
That's where I want to take over because it's a long straightaway and you hold it wide open. I'm really good at that. Then you cut through the interior here. 4 really interesting left, right-hand turns. Get you over to turn 20 where you want to get all the momentum off this turn that you can because you got to go all the way up that front straightaway, climb the hill into turn 1. What a fun layout.
All right, trucks are on the track. Let's now take a look at today's Xpel 225 starting grid. He was the fastest man in Texas yesterday. Ross Chastain set a new track record. But the guy next to him, Kyle Busch, going to be hard to stop trying to win number 100 for Kyle Busch Motorsports today.
Yeah, keep your eye on number 2, Nick Sanchez, 2nd at Atlanta. He's been fast everywhere we've gone. It'll be fun to watch his road race skills.
Well, another guy that we have to keep our eye on as we get rolling through the field here is Zane Smith. I think he's had a great start to the season. He ran well here on the road courses last year and winning here last year. So I think he'd probably be a good guy to talk to. What do you think?
Yeah, hit him up, see what he says.
Let's hit him up. Hey, Zane Smith, Kevin Harvick, Michael Waltrip, and Jamie Little up in the Fox booth. Man, you've had a great start to the season. You ran great here last year. Obviously, it's a hot day today. What do you think about your truck? Tell us what we can expect today.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with my truck. I feel like last year we may have been a little bit better in some areas, but I feel like we have a really good long-run Speedco F-150. So ready to get today going and hopefully go back-to-back wins.
Zane, it's Waltrip. I'm interested in strategy. I've been talking about strategy. I never talk about that. It's going to be all over the board. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we won't have these stage end cautions, so definitely could see today going green. But we're focused on stage wins, but ultimately race wins. So that's our plan for today.
Well, thank you for your insight there, Speedco. Have a good day. We'll be watching.
Thanks.
Let's get downstairs one more time for stories to watch. Heather DeBoe, you're up first.
Well, Jamie, it's been another impressive qualifying effort for rookie Nick Sanchez in his first start on this road course. When I talked to him earlier this morning, he said he's extremely happy to have the track position that he does here early in the race. But he said his goal for today is to pace himself. This race has the potential to be the most continuous green flag laps he has ever ran. So he has been doing everything he can to prepare himself physically for the intensity he will experience in the truck for long periods of time. He also said he has to stay disciplined to not burn his stuff up early in these opening laps. Today, he's starting fourth. Jamie Howe?
Parker Kligerman was moved to the back after the team had to swap engines in order to address a cracked oil pan. So Parker's focus shifts to patience. He's confident that he's going to be able to make up ground early, but at what expense is that question? He said the track surface is so abrasive here and they wear through the rear tire, so he knows that saving some on the aggression is going to pay dividends and keeping it flexible for the strategy. Jamie?
Thank you, ladies. A lot to watch for. It's going to be fun to watch Parker Kligerman come from behind. Let's now take a look at the race analysis, what to expect for today's race.
Yeah, those stagers are interesting to me, Kevin. 12, 14, and 16. We're going to break the race up around those and caution flags. We've had a couple of races here. Todd Gillen in the 38 truck and Zane Smith in the 38 truck last year. Really a dominant performance for both those guys, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think as you look at when you listen to what Zane Smith said and the race possibly going green, I think that makes those stage windows a little bit unique because of the fact that you're going to have an alternate plan and you're going to have to be able to run a full run on fuel unless you're on a different strategy. But you have the capability to run a fair amount further than each one of those stages.
It's interesting. It says pit window, defer to the crew chief. I deferred to about 10 of them this morning, and all of them had a different answer to the question.
And some are nervous. They haven't been in this situation in a while. They really had to work those computers, so I can't wait to see what everybody decides to do today. Well, we have two on board. You see Daniel Dye. He's got his work cut out for him starting in the back. DeLand Motorsports and Outdoors, DeLand, Florida is where he comes from. And the 99 of Ben Rhodes, he's got the driver's eye. I love this. So, Kevin, you carried this for us. I love this perspective.
Yeah, and this is a great view for the fans because the first thing that you're going to learn when you're looking forward is how steep that hill is in turn one and the perspective that they get coming down the hill. But the other thing you're going to learn is how rough this racetrack is. You have to run over a lot of curbs. You have to go off the racetrack outside of the curb, and outside of those curbs in many spots is very, very rough.
Remember, with the temperatures in the 80s and with all these turns and twists and humps and bumps, these drivers are going to get a real workout today, and that driver's eye camera, it'll show you exactly what it's like to be in that car. The only thing you're going to be missing is if you're not in your sauna with the temperature at 100.
That's right.
And you don't have G-forces to deal with, and that's another couple of additional items that these guys will fight today.
These guys trained just a couple laps yesterday in qualifying. We saw them just drenched in sweat when they got out of their trucks. We saw Ben Rhodes. You guys mentioned that'll be fun to watch. He's starting back in 13th, so he'll definitely be mired in some traffic at the start of this race. Now, we had some issues in qualifying, and that leads to 11 trucks going to the back of the field, so that'll be something certainly to watch.
Yeah, we saw a couple of expired engines, wounded engines yesterday with some misshifts, or in Parker Kligerman's case, it sounded like the oil pan broke. You know, we've seen stuff that happens to the vehicles that NASCAR lets you change from brake rotors or whatever the scenario is, and a lot of these guys on this list here had some of those issues.
And you know, there's a lot of those guys. You mentioned Parker Kligerman, Matt Kraft, and Matt DiBenedetto. These are guys that can come up and win this race, so it's going to be really fun having guys that have the potential to win starting first all the way to starting in the back.
How about Taylor Gray there in the 17? Happy birthday, by the way. Turns 18 years old today, so here's your first birthday present. You get to start in the back of the field and work your way through. But he was somebody to watch. He won at Mid-Ohio last year in the ARCA Menard Series, so certainly some talent, one to watch. His brother Tanner with a really good starting effort. Nice qualifying effort yesterday. He'll roll off 9th.
We got several teenagers in the field today, and that's fun to have. You know, you see these kids, Kevin, you know how the world works. You go-kart race, then you get your bandolero, you make your way to quarter midgets. The path to NASCAR is clear, but it's so fun to see guys and girls that are teenagers that have made it to this level already.
Yeah, and it's a lot different than how you and I grew up. It's iRacing, it's go-karts, it's Trans Am, it's ARCA. And then you come to the trucks and go to the Xfinity and Cup Series. These kids have so much more experience and so much more time on the racetrack, whether it's an oval or a road course. And the Truck Series is another great place for them to take that next step.
It's so fun to walk through the garage and you see the guys who are confident.
No, it's not. It makes me feel old.
No kidding. That too. But when you walk through, you see somebody like Zane Smith. He's smiling ear to ear. This is his jam. He loves road course racing. Where you go to somebody like Jake Garcia, has never raced on a road course, so he's not sure what to expect here today. A little bit of everything in the Truck Series.
Daniel Dye really needs a good day. He did a nice job last week at Atlanta. They had an engine issue. They got it corrected, lost a couple laps, got him back and finished in the top 20. But then issues with that truck in qualifying yesterday. They had to change the engine and rear gear. So he's certainly hoping for a smoother day today.
Seems like a short race, but it's not. These drivers have their work cut out for them. 143 laps. Pace truck is off.
Well, hopefully they did a good job of getting their brakes warm.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need them. If the brakes and the tires aren't where they need to be, turn one will remind you really quick.
Those two guys on the front row are pretty confident about what they have going up that hill.
20 turns, 3.4 miles. Ross Chastain on the inside and outside. Kyle Busch side by side as they come to the start-finish line. We are racing at Circuit of the Americas as they climb that hill. 133 feet up into turn one. You see the brakes locking up, the smoke already. They get through. It's Ross Chastain who leads them through turn one.
I don't even know how you call that, Mike, but it's 5-6 wide, and I think from a driver's standpoint, you don't want to tear the fenders off right here, but you know that you have to go and you have to try to at least protect your position, if not try to advance your position. So the guys in the back are trying to take advantage of it. The guys in the middle are trying to protect themselves, and down through the S's, we've got one sideways.
I just can't believe we all made it. Oh, there's some trouble for the 20 truck.
The 32 of Brett Holmes was the one we saw turned around. I believe this is Ed Jones in the 20.
Yeah, that looks like could have been an engine failure. Might cause a caution here early in the going.
That truck was pretty decent last year. Sheldon Creed ran it, was on pole. And Ed Jones, he's somebody who comes from a road racing background, an Indy Lights champion, ran in the IndyCar Series.
That's something you're going to see all day there, Kevin. Just forcing your way in. Kaz Grala dove to the inside of Grant Enfinger and made it inside of him. Hasn't completed the pass, but that was a strong move.
Yeah, and so many of these corners are enticing to turn in early. It's one of my biggest problems that I have here. There's so much room on the entries to the corner, but a late apex around the center of that curb allows you to get a run down the straightaway and off the corner. So you see Kaz just put an end to that.
Yeah.
Said, all right, buddy.
And Grant went off the road, as we said. That looks like maybe a broken track bar, Kevin, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Rear suspension problem there.
And this track is tough on the suspension because there's so many swells on this racetrack, and you have to run over so many curbs so hard in order to make good lap time. So it is definitely a racetrack that is hard on the equipment.
Such long laps here, 20 turns left and right. So much fun to watch. But Ross Chastain was in a league of his own yesterday. So far, looks like he has things under control with Kyle Busch behind him. And last week's winner, Christian Eckes. He's on cloud nine right now. A lot of motivation, a lot of momentum coming into this race.
You know, Jamie, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Momentum is big. Saw team owner Bill McAnally in the garage earlier. All the team was there with their Napa colors on. Just so proud of Christian and what he accomplished. And look, I mean, he's keeping pace with those two Cup guys. Something we talked about earlier was going to be difficult to do, but a lot of pace in the 19 truck.
He's finished in the top 10 in all 3 races so far this season. Brand new team for him, and to win in Napa's backyard last week. Everything going in the right direction for that young man.
Excuse me,
sorry,
Kevin.
Mike. I mean, he's just getting a crash course in what to do. And there you see the left rear with that track bar broken, the rear end moving back and forth. It flattened the left rear tire.
And caution is out for the first time today. Ed Jones sitting on the track. Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, and Zane Smith. Next Saturday on Fox, Baseball is back, and back with a huge doubleheader. First, Brandon Crawford and the Giants battle Aaron Judge and the Yankees. Then Bryce Harper and the Phillies take on Corey Seager and the Rangers. It all begins next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on Fox. And we just saw Bryce Harper. He's a NASCAR fan. He comes to a couple races a year. It's good to see him and his family out at Las Vegas. We are under caution for the first time today as we work lap 3 right there. Ed Jones with an issue, mechanical issue right off the start.
Yeah, and that happened in turn 1 because as he came through the S's, it was already, the rear end was moving back and forth, and then the tire drug something on the chassis, and now he's got flat tires.
So he was parked on the track in turn 15. He brought it in, and we did have a few takers on pit road. A couple of the guys who are running toward the back. What does that do for them now looking forward?
Well, Kevin, you talked about if they're in the back, maybe there's a chance to get some track position by just getting that little bit of gas, put you on a different. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, you have nothing to lose, and the thing that I like about that is it also gives you less time with that fuel man plugged into the gas tank. And here we see the choose rule, and this, to me, I think it's just pick the side that you lose the least amount of positions, and if you have a choice, I would probably pick the inside because it gets really rough outside of that curb in turn 1, and sometimes you're 3, 4, maybe 5 wide, and if you get too wide right there, there's a gravel trap, so you can lose a lot of time right there.
Yeah, and if you take the bottom, you're the one pushing people out of the way instead of somebody shoving you out of the way.
That's right.
It's gonna come to that.
It will come to that for sure.
Push will come to shove.
I like the option. It was a little bit different at Atlanta. You had 7 guys who would pick one side just because there was an advantage, but more equal here. But I think Ross Chastain agrees with you guys.
Well, I just like that you put it into the driver's decision, right? It's not just I have to go here and I have to go there. It gives you an option. And from a driver's standpoint, anytime you can have more options, I feel like that's more fair.
Yeah.
And it gives you something to think about. And I think the more that the driver has to think about, the better off, the better the race will be to watch.
And I want to clear up also, that's the thing with not having a stage in. It just puts more strategy into these crew chiefs on the box, the engineers, how they're going to attack this race. They're going to get stage points, but there's not going to be a caution. And it just adds another page to the playbook.
Certainly new for NASCAR. We'll do that in all 3 series. There will not be that green and white checker at the end of the stage finish. But as Michael mentioned, they'll still get those points.
What's new is old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Before we go back to about 2015.
Yeah, we're going back to how it used to be in 2015. So, but look, that's the one thing that's great about the NASCAR mentality in today's world. Hey, we need to mix it up a little bit. All right, let's fix it.
Yeah, or try something new, like the choose cone here for the first time on road courses. So once again, Ross Chastain has got Kyle Busch to the outside. Christian Eckes, one to watch in the 19.
Oh, they're stacking up. They're stacking up.
In the back. Green flag waves. They go wide. Matt Crafton was one of them. As they climb up that hill. Look at that. 5, 6 wide. Christian Eckes. Nice restart. 3 wide out of turn 1.
Wow. He was aggressive.
Still there.
Battle at the front, side by side. Christian Eckes putting the pressure on Ross Chastain, and he does it. He takes the lead.
Ross is sizing him up through the S's. You got to remain 2 tires at least on the red and white, making sure you don't get penalized. Once you leave the S's, you can kick up some dust, as we saw there. Kevin, I'm surprised we made it 2 restarts through two starts through turn 1, and nobody's really worse for the wear.
It's a lot of action, and Ross Chastain coming back to the inside. Side by side, Ross wants to take that lead back just by a nose over Christian Eckes.
And Zane gets around Kyle Busch, and I think he's going to bring Carson Hocevar along with him. See Hocevar there on the right side of the screen.
Look at these two. They can't shake each other.
Not quite able to get the spot.
Well, and what a great job by Christian Eckes just to put himself in position to get the lead. And it's like we talked before the caution came out, and you see him go wide right there to keep from running into the back of Ross. But this is just trial by fire, and he's seeing what they are doing and knowing that he can keep up and knowing that he can be on the offense and make moves. And now Ross has got by Christian, but he's still just getting a crash course in what needs to happen.
Ben Rhodes sizing up.
Still there. Clear. Clear.
Tanner Gray.
Clear by 1.
I think it's really fun to listen to the throttle too, Kevin, just squeezing it. He wants to gun it, but you just got to be really use finesse on that gas pedal.
Yeah, and you know that you see him on the inside right here, and that's a tough place to not have a pass happen because of the fact that you don't get a good run off the corner, so it puts you vulnerable to the trucks behind you to get a run on you to lose a position. So got to be pretty precise. This is a very technical racetrack, and especially with the throttle pedal, like you're saying, to make sure that, hey, what if I have to run 20 laps on this set of tires and take care of my tires? You can't just put the pedal down and spin the tires every time, because you might have to have them on that truck for a long time.
Kevin, you talk to these drivers, and it's all about simulation. I've been in the simulator on this track. I've turned so many laps the last 2 weeks. You've done that too, so now that you get in the car, how similar, how close is the simulation to what these guys are feeling in real life?
Well, I love it for reference points, but there's nothing like having to use that throttle pedal and having to actually use the brake pedal as hard as you think you need to use it, and not lock up the tires, and know that you might lock up the tires, and know that you might drive into the gravel trap or might drive off the racetrack because you have real life consequences. So in the simulator, there's no consequences, but it gives you great visuals, and that's the most important thing to me is to have everything memorized.
Look at this battle. Matt Crafton started out back. He's been able to get up toward the front. Lawless Allen was able to get into that battle along with Logan Bearden in the 22. Matt was trying to get around Bearden and open the door up for Allen. But he's done a nice job of fighting through the field.
That 38 truck, bad fast. He's our race winner from last year. It's the exact same truck he drove to victory lane. In fact, the 38 team has won both of the races here. Ooh, contact with Kyle Busch right there as they go side by side. This is the battle for third.
I think that could be a little bit of Christian Eckes holding up Zane, and Kyle got in there and said, I'm taking that spot away. Anytime you see a gap ahead of you, like starting to develop with Christian, you better start watching that mirror, huh?
Well, the thing that I always hear you say about truck races, Mike, is there's very little give, and there has been very little give in Christian Eckes and trying to defend his position and do what he can do to try to keep his track position. But I believe Zane is faster than Christian. He just can't find the spot to pass.
Ty Majeski's holding down the 6th spot behind Carson Hocevar, so got some nice battles inside the top 10.
I'm impressed with that 98 of Ty Majeski. Didn't have much road course experience at all, and he's just put the hammer down, focused on getting better. Great qualifying effort yesterday. Now here running in the 6th spot.
There's our pole sitter from Sonoma last year, Carson Hocevar.
Carson Hocevar doing double duty today, making his Xfinity Series debut. Got a call last week that team needed a fill-in driver, and here he is. So he's done a lot of simulation work, to your point, Kevin, but getting that extra seat time has really helped him out here.
Well, I think with Carson, he had the best tool in the garage last night with the pole sitter and Ross Chastain, and Carson has done a great job on the road courses, as you've said, and I think, you know, having Ross in that truck and being able to judge, and now you see Zane trying to make a move on Eckes on the inside here going into turn 11.
We had a shot there of Rajah Caruth in the 24 truck. We talked about you can't cut the S's. He was caught cutting the S's. He'll have to do a pass-through penalty. So that's something I think to keep in mind all day long. It is so tempting, isn't it? Just any inch you could get nearer the apex of the corner, you want it, and Rajah overdid it. As the battle for this position continues, I think Zane's got him this time.
Great battle to watch right here, and Kyle Busch just watching these two duke it out.
Okay, I don't think he does get him this time.
Still there. Clear behind him.
Kyle Busch trying to take a look to the inside. Christian Eckes, really nice job. I mean, the guys behind him, he knows how good they are on these road courses.
Nice exit there for Zane.
Well, that was almost an instant replay of the lap before.
Yeah. I think it's so wild you can hear the tires squealing when they go through these corners. That tells you the load that these drivers are feeling in these trucks.
Yeah, and right now Zane is getting antsy, and he's tried to pass in the same spot the last 2 laps, and it hasn't worked. And Kyle's been up beside him, and Kyle's left front fender's got a little bit of it's caved in a little bit from getting into the side of Zane. But Zane he doesn't get off of turn 20 like Christian does, and then that makes it so that he has to make up the ground going into turn 1, and he can't set up the pass going into turn 1. So now he's under pressure from Kyle Busch, under braking here into turn 1.
Wouldn't Kyle being behind anybody make them antsy? You know, one slip, he's going to grab that spot, and he does just that.
That's fair.
Maybe Zane said, "You go past him. I can't get it done. You give it a try."
Working lap number 7. It's been all about Ross Chastain. He's led 5 laps so far, but the battle continues behind him. We'll be back from Austin.
Chicago's seen it all, but it's never experienced anything quite like this. A 2-day racing and music festival featuring the Chainsmokers, Miranda Lambert, the Black Crowes, and Charlie Crockett. It's NASCAR in the streets of Chicago and so much more. The Chicago Street Race Weekend. For tickets and experiences, visit NASCARChicago.com.
Craftsman is back. And to celebrate our return to the NASCAR Truck Series, we're offering racing fans different Craftsman deals throughout the season. Because teams can count on Craftsman tools to get the job done. And now you can too. When you take advantage of the Craftsman deal of the race, you'll save on the tools that'll help you power through your projects. And this deal, well, it's going fast. So scan the QR code now to get the current deal of the race.
The deal of the race brought to you by Craftsman.
Out here, you're more than just a landowner. You're a gardener, a landscaper, a hunter. Because you didn't settle for ordinary. Same goes for your equipment. Versatile, powerful, durable Kubota equipment. More goes into it, so you get more out of it.
Okay, cut it.
Ray Magliozzi here. When you need parts, eBay Motors ensures a guaranteed fit. Let's say you'll need headlights and a bumper. At least you can skip the car wash. Just go to eBay Motors. The check means a guaranteed fit. Let's ride.
Pull up a seat, because in 3 weeks, the real deal is back with a new season of the USFL. Reborn from the OGs. The hits, the picks, the dimes. Drive so long you have to stop for gas. This isn't some Hollywood knockoff. This is Drydens USDA prime time football. Just ask these guys.
You better recognize the real.
Except no substitutes. The USFL. New season begins April 15th on Fox and NBC. Here is where it must be left on the track.
Blow those rear tires off of, bud.
And now is when the future is written in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Welcome back to the Xpel 225 on FS1. Jamie Little, Kevin Harvick, Michael Waltrip with you. And Ross Chastain continues to lead. He has been the standout, but this battle, wow, and Carson Hocevar goes around. The 0-2 is around to Chris Wright.
Oh, he's going to get stuck. He shouldn't have done that. You got to stay on the pavement. That gravel will eat you up. There's a perfect picture of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Mike, the truck that was just on pit road, I don't know what truck that was, but that's going to be the leader of this. He's going to have a good opportunity to be the leader of this race if everybody decides to pit, but we're getting close to the end of the stage.
That was turn 11 where that took place at the end of the long back straightaway.
Caution is out now for the second time.
You got to stay on the pavement and back up. You get in the gravel and you're stuck, and that's what the Worldwide Express truck is.
Carson Hocevar was in the top 5, running 5th when that just happened.
Yeah, and I bet what happened right there is he got in and the back of the truck started wheel hopping, and the truck went around. So, yeah, that's a tough break, and he's definitely waiting for the tow truck.
Let's listen to the 42 radio.
Power steering fluid ready just in case.
Copy.
That's what I'm fighting in the slow section.
10-4, 10-4. Brake pedal to the floor, he says.
Wow, he's got all kinds of problems. Power steering fluid, brake pedal to the floor.
Gravel in his tires.
Stuck in the gravel. This is bad sequence right there.
Meanwhile, pit road, all the pit crews getting ready, getting warmed up. You guys said the window opened at about lap 6, so here we are, lap 8.
And this is a perfect scenario for us to have fun. Some guys are going to say, I got to win the stage. Some guys are going to say, I want some track position. Lap 8 will allow the trucks to get all the way to the finish on another tank of gas. Let's see if we can see what happens here to Carson.
Well, you see the 0-2 Chris Wright get spun around there.
That's Taylor Gray that gets him, and Chase Purdy goes by in the Bama Buggies truck. And then this is what happened to Carson. You could tell just no brakes there.
Yeah, he's just struggling with the brake pedal. When it goes to the floor, you just have so much that
he tried to keep it going. I didn't know he didn't have any brakes.
Makes sense now, right?
He couldn't stop, or he would have tried to keep it rolling, but it didn't happen.
The worst spot.
Good thing about this place is it takes so long to get around under caution. They get him pulled out here.
They'll get him back to pit road, and you heard it. He's going to need some help. Fix the damage. See if he can continue on. Pit stops on the other side of this break. Stay with us. You're watching the Craftsman Truck Series. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas, where we're under caution for the second time for Carson Hocevar, getting stuck on track, and he has made it to pit lane to get some service, see if they can fix that truck up and get him back out. So this means one thing: once the pits are officially open, which they are, maybe we'll get some takers. What do you guys think?
Well, let's make sure they open pit road. I think we're going to do so. And if so, we get just what we were hoping for, Kevin. A mixed bag.
That's right.
We're going to see 41 and 51 pit for sure, I believe. And then others will stay out and try to win the stage. Get that valuable playoff point. Get some stage points. Zane Smith was on the fence.
And this is a narrow pit road, so this is a very difficult pit road to get to from a driver's standpoint if there are multiple trucks. We see the guys that you were talking about pitting. Jamie?
For Kyle Busch, he stopped in his box as well. His crew chief for this year, Brian Patty, is very successful on road courses. He said if we can stop early, we're not going for championship points, so we can get to the end of the race on just one more stop. We're taking all the chances. Kyle was very honest. He said he felt like that win last year was taken away from him. He wants redemption today. Also, Ross Chastain is a perfectly clean pit stop for him. 4 tires, fuel, just a couple adjustments. Heather?
And for Zane Smith, his crew chief Chris Lawson told me earlier that if they would get a caution in the first stage, they will take the option to pit. But he is saying right now with that race truck, that first gear drive is terrible, and he's loose on the right-handers, and it carries him all the way through the exit. So they made some adjustments there for the 38.
All right, so it was a little bit of a mixed bag. So you have
we haven't messed anything up yet, Jamie.
Christian Eckes stays out. We'll see what happens after this. Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, racing from Austin. Under caution right now, we have a mixed bag, as we mentioned. Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, among those who decided to stay out. And just a reminder that the end of stage 1 is at lap 12, but we'll stay green. So we're trying something new here, and I like the differing strategies.
I do too. You can see the damage here on Stuart Friesen. Let's watch this last restart. Keep your eyeball on the yellow truck up there of Matt Crafton. Watch how wildly he goes off to the right. Things get stacking up. You can see Stuart Friesen, he gets hit there. And the reason why I think this is important, Kevin, this is about where our leaders are going to restart. And we know how hectic and chaotic these restarts are. You could see a good example of it right there.
Well, we saw the best truck get torn up last year, Kyle Busch, on a situation like this where he had to race with other people. And now you're back in the pack, and you know when you're going to turn 1, you got to protect yourself and keep your truck rolling with the fender still on it.
All right, Christian Eckes, first time Ty Majeski is restarting on the front row. Nick Sanchez and the 11 of Corey Heim in the second row. Green flag is in the air as they climb that hill into turn 1.
And here they go, fanning out. Look at Chastain all the way off the racetrack to the right.
Christian Eckes with a flawless restart once again leads them.
Good call, Jamie. That's how he got the lead. He just had a perfect restart. A little contact back there.
That looked like Nick Sanchez had some contact, lost about 4 positions right there.
And that's a great shot because it's like a funnel. Oh no.
Matt Crafton gets stuck right where we just saw Carson Hocevar.
Oh, he got lucky. That left rear tire was on the grass.
Got it up on the grass. Remember Kurt Busch a couple years ago riding around on that grass trying to find some more racetrack.
What's he going to do here? He looks like he's almost on an island.
Yeah, he's just trying to find anything that isn't gravel to keep traction, and he's found it.
Well done, Matt Crafton. That was great.
Grass stuffed up in there.
It looks like our golf game, Mike.
All over the place.
When you're in your opposite fairway and you got to figure out a place to get back across.
And you even trimmed the grass for him.
That was turn 4 where that took place, and Matt was running 11th, just probably the victim of a bump gone wrong. You see Tom Majeski chasing down Christian Eckes. How impressive has he been on these restarts? Wow.
He's been relentless.
Yes.
And he's done a great job even after the restarts in making sure that he's fast in the places where that you have the most potential to pass. And he gets off the corner really well. So Christian has been very aggressive in protecting his position. And now ultimately it puts him in a position to win the stage.
Will Matt Crafton have to pit with that grass on his grill? Maybe do some overheating? See if we can see what happens to him back here. Down low.
Yeah, you see Nick Sanchez there get hit and go a little bit wide. And then everything kind of stacks up.
This is where it probably goes bad for Crafton.
Oh, man.
Was that Haley Deegan in 13?
Yeah, Haley Deegan just hit him in the left rear.
That's his teammate. But he did a great job of getting out of that mess. I'm just worried about overheating and that smoke I'm seeing. Been a tough day.
Yeah, the tough part about those S's, we're coming to turn 1 here, and on the start, everything funnels down into turn 1. But when you come off of turn 1 down into turn 2, it's like a funnel. Just keeps getting smaller. But when you go into those S's, it's like a rhythm. You have to hit the first curb in the right spot. And I guarantee you what happened was Haley Deegan hit that first curb wrong in turn 3, and it popped her over into Matt Crafton's left rear.
You just saw a hornet's nest is the best way to describe it. And Kyle Busch was right in the middle of it. Jamie?
For Matt Crafton, he is making the decision to go ahead and bring it into pit lane. He knew that he had some grass stuck in that grill and he didn't want it to overheat, so they're taking the opportunity to go ahead and execute a full service pit stop. They're going to give him fresh tires and top off with fuel. Also, remember, he didn't qualify either. He had some tire rub issues during practice. They were not able to get those fixed on pit lane, so he missed that track time as well. So it's been kind of a messy weekend for Matt Crafton. He had come up through the field, but this certainly sends him further back than he would like.
And he has a tire getaway there. Jamie.
One thing after another, not good for the 88 camp for Matt Crafton. And there's that gaggle of trucks I talked about on board with Ben Rhodes.
Kyle Busch took them 3 wide to grab 2 spots there.
How about Ross Chastain in the 41 that you're looking ahead to? 17th to 8th in 1 lap. Man on a mission right there.
It appears there's a lot of missions going on. There's so much pushing and shoving and passing and action. I love it.
Tyler Ankrum in the 16 battling Kyle Busch right now for that 9th spot. Didn't they just name yesterday or today Tyler Ankrum Day here in Austin?
I don't know, but I want to celebrate it.
It's pretty special.
Not very many people get their own day. Tyler's a good kid too.
From San Bernardino, California, but now he lives in North Carolina on a farm. Wears cowboy boots all around the track. Interesting young man.
He is. He's awesome, and you can see 22 years old. Best finish on the road course 3rd here 2 years ago.
Well, let's not forget we're coming to the end of stage 1 here.
This is the final lap of it, and it's going to be Christian Eckes, winner of stage 1. He gets those 10 points, that extra bonus point. So strange not bringing out that caution, right? Yeah, this is kind of fun.
You get to win the stage point. Oh, keep on going, bud. Don't let off. I love it. I think it adds so much to the race.
Christian Eckes, his 3rd stage win of the season. And you see right there in that pylon, your top 10 finishers after stage 1.
Yeah, and what's going to happen here is it's going to cycle to Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain as these guys start to get onto their strategy when they pit. So the next race for the lead is between Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain. And the interesting part about that story is Kyle Busch has gotten around Ross Chastain.
Yeah, forced him 3 wide and took that spot away. We saw, but I think lap 13, as they come back to the come back to pit road, there's going to be a lot of takers on pit road. Those guys coming in and getting their service. Look at that dive there by Ross. He's able to get around Kaz Grala and that Island Brands #1 truck.
The one thing that if I was Christian Eckes, guys, you know, obviously you're worried about the caution flag coming out and not being on pit road, because you don't want the caution flag to come out and then have to pit because you lose so much more. So you got to decide, okay, my lap times are okay, but do I need to get on pit road right now so I put myself in position to not get hung out with a caution?
I'm pitting right now. I've got to get on pit road so that I don't lose the track position if and when the caution flies again. Kevin, I had one of the crew guys tell me I got it figured out. We need to pit 1 lap before the caution comes out.
Yeah.
So, well, how the heck do we know when that is?
That's perfect timing. Look, you have to have a little bit of luck when you're calling these races. You have to have some luck go your way when you pit and the way that the cautions fall in order to win these races.
You know, in that top 10 we showed, the one guy that I'm very impressed with, Matt DiBenedetto in 10. He was one of the 11 trucks who started in the back of the field today.
It was a rough day yesterday for Matty D. Nothing really went well, and yet he's able to recover with the top 10 here.
And Parker Kligerman in 11th. We told you at the top of the show, keep your eye on Parker Kligerman, our most recent road course winner in the truck series. Christian Eckes is on pit road. You guys said it. It's coming your way. Jamie?
And Tyler Ankrum in for his stop, and this word from the crew chief was make sure you manage these tires. We're going to need them to last us for a long time, so when you get back out there nice and smooth. Heather?
The strategy has played out perfectly here for the 19 team. The crew chief Charles tonight told me earlier their objective was to get as many stage points as possible. Obviously they won that stage. The only complaint here for the 19 is that he said that he is free into the left-handers and losing overall lateral grip, and he stalls it, so they're going to have to give him a push.
Everything's been going flawless for Christian Eckes until right there. And look at this battle for the lead right now. Ty Majeski trying to hold off Kyle Busch, who has yet to lead today.
And right behind him, Ross Chastain with his pursuit of Kyle Busch. Nice job by Ty Majeski making his way up to the lead of this race.
You saw in that shot on pit road, the 88, Matt Crafton, they did push him back to the garage. His day is over.
Now the strategy, Kevin, is don't speed on pit road. Don't have a penalty. You put all these plays into position to turn out the way you planned it. A speeding penalty can mess that all up.
Yeah, and I'm so intrigued by all of it. I'm sitting here trying to think about all these scenarios in my head, because that's what's happening on the pit boxes. All the crew chiefs are trying to put themselves in a position. And if you're in a position to where maybe I'm not fast enough, maybe I need to hold my track position and try to run as long as I can. Maybe some of these guys fall into that category to try to push that last set of tires as late as they can.
What a battle, and Kyle Busch gets around Ty Majeski, and he brings Ross Chastain with him. Kyle Busch leading for the first time today.
Yeah, that's a good plan, I think, for somebody that knows they don't have the speed to win the race. What if you just ran your tires all the way out on your fuel and get your last set of tires later than everyone to give you an advantage?
Yeah, because right now Christian Eckes is in 31st position, right? And so he's way behind, and you know, from a time standpoint. So what's the time loss for Ty Majeski to just stay out there and do the best that he can in order to maintain his track position and just try to pit with these guys?
So much action so far. We have a lot more coming your way. 28 laps to go, side by side. 5 different leaders. Who will come out on top? Welcome back to the Xpel 225. Jamie Little, Michael Waltrip, Kevin Harvick with you. Heather DeBow and Jamie Howe on pit road. What a beautiful day, and how about the perfect place to watch this race?
That looks scary, didn't it?
Yeah, if you're afraid of heights, that is not for you.
Don't go there.
You climbed all the steps, didn't you, Michael?
I did twice once.
410 of them.
Yeah. Twice once because I lost count and I was supposed to be counting steps.
Kyle Busch continues to lead here. Ross Chastain, Zane Smith, Ty Majeski. Remember, he is yet to pit. And Kaz Grala round out the top 5.
Mike and I were just having an interesting debate on the 98 strategy in Ty Majeski. And it's interesting, Michael, if you run this whole stage out and then you run it again, because it just has that green flag feel right now. His pace is not bad, but he's going to be in a better position, I believe, when it all cycles through, because if the caution does come out and he is stuck behind Christian Eckes, which he will be because of his lap time, he's going to have way fresher tires. So there's a few ways that this can all play out.
You talked about Parker Kligerman in the 75 truck. He's not disappointing you. He's marched into the top 5. Let's listen to some radio from Parker's team.
We're pretty terrible, by the way. Really tight in the high speed. Quarters, chattering fronts. Yeah, we do have some damage on the nose right in the center.
Doesn't that sound just like a race car driver? Drove into the top 5. We're pretty terrible, you know.
Yeah, and I can see exactly why it's tight. When he tells him that it's damage, it's a lot of damage. It's got some gap at the top of the nose with the hood, and the whole nose is completely caved in, so it's definitely not going to drive well.
Have you ever been told to shut up and drive?
I have.
I have too. And
yeah.
that's a moment where maybe that would have been appropriate, but Parker's just trying to tell the team the best, what the truck's doing. Tires are chattering, and then they can go to work on a plan of how to fix it.
I like the response, though. We have a little damage. Yeah. We're going to be all right.
Yeah.
From where they're standing, they're doing a great job. That is the little team that could. That Parker Kligerman is driving for. And how about Hailie Deegan coming off her best finish of the year, 12th last week at Atlanta, here running in the top 10?
Yeah, great job. She had that bit of contact with Crafton, but other than that, and I think she got some damage on that restart we look back at. She's had a pretty smooth day.
A lot of damaged trucks.
Getting heated up there by Lawless Allen. Allen's doing a nice job as well.
Lawless Allen.
Look at all that damage to her truck, Kevin.
Yeah, and that particular damage is interesting, Mike. You've been in that scenario before, because sometimes it's good damage, and I don't believe that's going to be good damage, but sometimes when you get some air onto the right front tire and keep it cooler in these situations where the tires fall off. But I believe that fender is much more important aerodynamically here than that tire being cool.
I hear you, though. That's interesting. You can see that she's struggling to stay ahead of Lawless.
So Lawless Allen, his first name is unique, right? Mm-hmm. It's his grandmother's maiden name. And as he says, we're not some wild motorcycle gang. It's actually my grandmother's name, maiden name. So Lawless Allen doing a really nice job here in the top 10.
Got to run there. Can he get the job done? Looks like he's going to make the move. Oh, and he's going to hit Kaz. That was so close.
Hailie says, not so fast. I'm still here. She hangs on to that 9th spot. Jamie?
For Lawless Allen, he ran an endurance race here with Daniel Suarez, of all people, as his co-driver, just to get some more track time, some experience around Circuit of the Americas. And he said it's really paid off, but what's actually making a big difference is just the chemistry with that team. They're starting to show the speed that they have, and they're working a lot better together than they did last year, and they have a better understanding of what Lawless needs behind the wheel.
This is when you overshoot the corner to make a pass. He's hung down there low and tried to complete it, and look how lucky Kaz Gralla is and doesn't even know it, I don't think.
Yeah, that looks like Lawless right at the last second said, oh, I need another spike of the brake right here. I'm going to hit that truck. So he's getting frustrated because Hailie's doing a little bit of blocking, and he's getting frustrated because he knows his truck is faster. So he's taking more chances to try to gain the position and do what he needs to do to get by.
That's a strong move up on the outside of Hailie.
You drivers don't get frustrated, do you?
Well, we saw earlier when Kyle Busch and Chastain were battling with Eckes, you know, they couldn't get the pass done. So it's just really difficult unless the other driver makes a mistake to make those moves.
The battle continues for Hailie Deegan. Lawless Allen side by side.
How much are you leaning on your spotter here, Kevin, to finish this move off and listen to if you got room or not to close the door?
Still there?
Well, at this point, I'm not listening to my spotter. I'm going to do my leaning on the door to finish this pass and make some of those exits wide or brakes a little bit deeper on the entry and make sure that it's right next to the door. So he's definitely getting desperate.
About 2.5.
Did you see that nice little move Hailie did? She kind of bumped him up out of the way with her back bumper.
Just a quick update, the 88 of Matt Crafton did go to the infield care center. He has been checked and released. He's out for today. Spencer Boyd as well. The truck had some issues yesterday. Stephen Parsons actually qualified the truck, and his day is over. Man, it's a tough weekend for that team.
Well, Hailie made a little bit of room, and Lawless took advantage of it, completed that pass. Now he's going to go try to run down Kaz Gralla.
Yeah, and one lap ago, they were right on Casgrala's bumper, and really it cost them both a whole bunch of time. So it's a real balance of I need to let this driver go so that we don't lose as much time as they just lost. And, you know, that's what happens here. You go back and you watch these races as a young truck driver, and you probably would say in that situation, if you were Haley, I should have just let him go so we didn't lose so much time to the people in front of us. And this is what we hope for, right? We hope that these guys would be about the same speed, Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain, if they were going to be the ones at the front of the field, because we thought they'd be quick, but I love the fact that they're close and they're going to have to race each other all the way to the end here.
Nice battle for fifth. Parker Kligerman. You got Ben Rhodes side by side. Kligerman, such a wheelman on these road course races. He's got double duty coming up. That's a lot of driving in one day. As you mentioned, Kevin, too, it is the first hot weekend we've had.
Well, the trucks and the Xfinity cars are way hotter than the Cup cars. Every time I ever drove a truck or an Xfinity car, I would get out of it and go, oh my goodness, I forgot how hot these trucks and Xfinity cars were. So that'll be a long day.
I talked about Nick Sanchez in the opening. Solid top 10 for him so far, tracking there just behind the veteran and road course winner Ben Rhodes and road course winner Parker Kligerman. So Nick's getting some lessons here.
Nobody works harder. That young man, 100% dedicated to his craft, to getting better, to learning this team, and it's shown. He's qualified in the top 5 all 4 races this year, running up front. He's led some laps, and he's just doing a nice job adjusting to the truck series.
You see there, Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, Ross Chastain all up 17 spots. We know they have fast trucks, but what about Lawless Allen? He's gained 13 spots since this race restarted, and that's a great job for him. Ooh, there's the move.
Side by side, once again, they can't shake each other. Ross Chastain, the 51 there, Kyle Busch. This battle's fun.
Again, out there.
That is out there. I bet you there's a lot of respect. Don't you think, Kevin, between these two right now? They both know they've got everything it takes to win the race and just racing hard against each other.
Well, neither one of them wants to lose the time to each other. They both want to be in control of the race for whatever reason, you know, just to keep everything cooler and not having to follow a truck. And you can see Kyle got in the dirt right there. Heather?
And Nick Sanchez sure is having a good run so far. The only thing he said that he's struggling with right now is the front turn of that number 2 truck. But we also have an issue for the number 19 of Christian Eckes, our stage leader. He's been telling the team that he's having power steering issues with that number 19, so he's bringing it down pit road right now. They did say they're going to have to take a look at it here and to have a power steering belt ready, and they're going to go under the hood for the 19. They're also going to put some fuel on it.
That's a tough break there. Such a good truck.
Well, that's the second one, Mike. We heard Carson Hocevar talk about his power steering issues too, so you wonder if it's just the heat or if there's a common problem with everything that's happening.
I think the pit road window will open for some of the guys like Chastain and Kyle Busch in about 3 to 4 laps. It'd be interesting to me, though, Kevin, if they don't run it out a little bit further, if they choose to just run it out further because they want to have fresher tires at the end. You said it earlier, and I couldn't agree more. Just has a real green flag feel to it, and you got to have good tires at the end if you can figure it all out.
Yeah, well, Ty Majeski is the guy whose fuel window is definitely going to open probably this lap. He has not pitted at all yet.
One of 3 trucks that has yet to pit today.
That's 19 laps. Talking in the garage area, 19 to 21 laps they think they could go. But of course, you got to consider they had the parade laps before the green flag, but there's also been some caution laps. I think it's about time to come here.
It is. You guys called it. Ty Majeski. He's coming your way, Heather.
And for Ty, he's been quiet on the radio so far, but the team has been telling him he's doing a great job and just to keep up the good work. So they're going to go ahead and come in for their scheduled stop right here. And his crew chief, Joe Shear, they did not want to pit under caution, so this is working out as part of their strategy as well.
Now you just don't want to make any mistakes. Nice smooth pit stop. Don't speed on pit road. Keep that strategy in play. I believe he's all set to go to about lap 40, maybe 38, and have those fresh tires like we talked about.
He's in a very unique position, but the one thing that they will be reminding him of right here is he needs to go. He's got to lay down as fast a lap as possible to try to gain the time. If the leaders that he was racing around, the trucks that he was racing around, he needs to make sure that he puts in as many fast laps as possible. But he's come out in a very unique position right in the middle of the pack, which kind of takes some of that away because you can't lay those laps down like you need to.
Well, it's interesting, and I think it was Ty Majeski's team that told me yesterday the max they can do on fuel is 22 laps. He just pitted there. We've got about 21 laps left in this race, so they could be on it, maybe a little short. What do you think, Michael?
Maybe just a little short, but when you start changing your gears a little bit lower RPM, you could save some of that fuel. But I just believe there's going to be more pit stops. I think that probably isn't going to play out to have that old of tires on at the end of the race.
But the unique position that it puts Majeski in is the fact that all those guys are going to come in and put their last set of tires on, and if they have to, they're going to have to pit sooner under green than what he's going to have to. So he's got more options.
Dive there. The 46 of Dale Quarterly, you saw him make a big move there. Here comes Nick Sanchez around Grant Enfinger. Look at this mess. Quarterly's done a nice job. I think that's him in the middle there. Isn't that the 46 truck? He had an early pit stop, but he's battled back in that white and red truck.
Yeah, Majeski and Sanchez both just pitted, and they came out in the middle of these trucks in traffic, and they want nothing more than to do exactly what Ty just did, to clear these trucks that are slower than they are, to make lap time while the tires are new.
Oh, problems continue there. That's Christian Eckes. They're still looking under the hood, and Eckes was so strong early on, led 3 laps, won the first stage, but
yeah, they'll be thankful for that first stage win. That heals a few wounds. There's Ben Rhodes making his way down pit road.
Heather?
And for Ben Rhodes earlier in the day, he was not happy with his qualifying effort, and he said he did not like starting the race that far in the back. It's hard to make track position, but here he is pitting from that 7th spot. They're going to go ahead and add 4 tires and fuel for him as well, and then they'll send him back out off pit road.
Really interesting to look at this top 10 right now and how things have shaken out. I see Stuart Friesen just entered the top 10 for the first time today. He had some damage early on in this race.
There's Haley with that damage, but still soldiering on in the 7th position. Just got passed by Kaz Gralla. And then there's Stewart. We talked about his problems. And Caden Honeycutt. You got to give it up for Caden. He's done a nice job. He's worked his way inside the top 10.
And right behind him, Raja Karuth, he was the first one that was penalized for cutting the course through the S's, so he's worked his way up.
Logan Bearden in the 22. He's been fun to watch today. A lot of good stories of guys and ladies that have raced their way inside the top 10.
This story of Logan Bearden, I love it. He's a mechanic for AM Racing in the trucks and the ARCA Menard series, and once again getting a shot here to show what he's capable of. And the reason why he's taking those other jobs and being a mechanic is to be here today. So doing a really nice job there for Bearden back there in the 12th spot.
Mike, look at this. Kaz Gralla has not pitted yet, and
we've run 21 laps.
Yeah, that puts him in a position to just
one stop
if this thing does something crazy and goes green.
I love this story too. You're talking about good stories. The CarQuest truck here of Caden Honeycutt. He's a Texas driver, a teenager, and his team is really high on him. He's got so much ability, sort of under the radar at times, but does a really nice job. And here in his home state, running inside the top 10, and he's already pitted on a pretty normal strategy. This is a great day for this team.
Caden Honeycutt started this race 24th. He's from Willow Park, Texas. One of 3 drivers from Texas in the field. And here's a battle again for the lead. Love this. Kyle Busch in the 51, trying to win on a road course for the 2nd time in his career. And Ross Chastain in the 41 has never won on a road course in the Truck Series.
This battle is awesome. Seeing these two going toe-to-toe. Make sure you don't cut the corners there in the S's. That's got to be hard. Jamie, how these guys are really battling. What's happening down on pit road with Kaz Gralla?
Kaz Gralla has finally made this stop on pit lane right at the halfway mark, as you said. Seth Smith had the crew from Tricon Garage up on the wall at the ready, but I was watching his lap times. That last lap, he was already half a second slower than the lap before, which was already 3.5 seconds off the pace of the leaders, and it all comes down to how fresh those tires are. Their intention is to go to the end of the race. They're going to have some severe drop-off when they get there.
Thank you, Jamie.
Well, we talked about at the beginning of the show, Jamie Little. that the strategies would be all over the board. And I think that we called that pretty well because we've seen a lot of that. Check out how Kyle gets the lead.
Well, it appears that these trucks have kind of swapped. It seems like Ross's truck is starting to fall off, and Kyle just got a heck of a run off the last corner and drove by him.
Yeah, I looked at the lap times 2 laps ago. Ross was a half a second faster, but then the last time by, Kyle was a second faster than Ross, so something's going on there. It's Ross is fading. Wonder what's going on. It's about time for a pit stop. I think about lap 24 is what the team told me they thought they might pit.
Yeah, and he could possibly be in a position of saving fuel in order to try to get himself to a particular spot. We're hearing that he has a fuel pressure issue, so that would explain the sudden drop off down the straightaway when Kyle just drove by him.
Certainly. There he goes. Is that Daniel Dye battling?
Daniel Dye in the 43. One of the trucks that started in the back of the field today. First road course race for him. 41's coming your way, Jamie.
And Ross Chastain clean in. He hit the marks. The team was ready for him. I was listening to him right now, and he said, we're not trying not to spend a whole lot of time here, so make this work quick. They went ahead, topped him off. I don't see like there's any worry in any issue that he may potentially have. They're just making sure he's cool.
So Ross Chastain's service is finished. The question now, when does Kyle Busch pit?
I think it's going to be pretty soon, but we won't miss it no matter when it is.
Won't miss it. We're going side by side. Keep it right here from COTA.
What's he doing?
He's cleaning the trash cans.
Oh, boy. Meeting a new young homeowner for the first time is a unique challenge.
So you think you can help?
I can try. Hey, what you doing?
Just cleaning my trash cans.
Wow. It's important to build trust. So you put your address and phone number on here.
Well, you can never be too safe.
With trash?
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Don't look at the hedges, they're a mess.
No one's looking at the hedges.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime! Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
Martinsville Speedway is the short track in NASCAR. And only at Martinsville can you catch a weekend of bumper-to-bumper, three-wide racing at one of NASCAR's oldest tracks. With trucks kicking things off on Friday, Xfinity on Saturday, and the Cup Series on Sunday. It's the reason to get your tickets today at martinsvillespeedway.com.
Saturdays, baseball's best are showing out on Fox. This is where MVPs are VIPs, and where aces always come in pairs. Saturday means it's showtime for Shohei and mealtime for Manny. All the swag, all the salt, and all the slams. The biggest games on the best day of the week. MLB on Fox returns next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern.
Much has changed over our 75 years, but the one thing that never does, that feeling you get when the race begins again.
Well, Kyle Busch decided not to pit that lap. He continues leading this race. We welcome you. 18 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Kyle Busch, it's been a good day. He's already led 9 laps today. Jamie?
His crew chief, Brian Patty, had called him to pit lane on that last lap. There was a little bit of a discussion over the radio on whether or not it was the best time. He's turning consistent lap times right now, so they told him you have 6 laps maximum. That's the most you can stay out there on fuel right now. So eyes are open. The crew's ready for him. It's going to come down to Kyle when he thinks it's time.
That's the man making the call. Brian Patty on the pit box right there.
Yeah, and he's 2.6 seconds slower than his fast lap, so there's definitely some fall off late in the run.
Daniel Dye On pit road, getting service there.
There's Kyle Busch making his way. Sounds like a little bit of a debate between the crew chief and the driver about what the best strategy might be.
And as the crew chief, when you got the owner of the team in the truck, I guess you kind of have to listen to him, right?
Well, they're in an okay spot because of being the leader and losing less time. I mean, the only person that was close to them racing, I guess, would be Zane and Ross Chastain. But we don't know exactly what is happening with the Chastain truck. Did he have a fuel pressure issue? Did they not get a full fuel? So we don't know that he can actually go all the way to the end.
And Ross Chastain shown in 8th right now. So Kyle Busch has a 4-second lead over Zane Smith. Parker Kligerman has driven his way up through the field. He's in 3rd. Lawless Allen and Stuart Friesen now joins the top 5.
And Jamie, if you look back to Ross Chastain in 8th, he's 40 seconds behind Kyle. It takes about 45 seconds to make a pit stop and get from one end of pit road to the other. So that means when the cycle ends, Ross is going to have an advantage. Now we have the question about what's the situation with his fuel pressure.
Jamie?
Well, I just checked with Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief, and he said they did have a slight fuel pressure issue before they came to pit lane. I mentioned during that pit stop they were making sure it was full. They went back, grabbed the second can of gas of it. Mike said they are confident that they got it all the way topped off.
So that's good news, right? Maybe his problems are in the past. They think they got it full. So Ross Chastain should be good to go.
Yep.
As we continue to wait for the 51 when they decide to pit.
Well, Mike, don't you think there has to be some sort of conversation in Kyle Busch's mind to say, okay, if we do get a caution at the end, I want to be in control of having a little bit better tire?
Yeah, and I think that we know that he could pit now and make it, and we thought that, but with not needing the points, he might take advantage of that. But I think with the fall off in the tires, Kyle has decided behind the wheel of that truck, I need to run these tires on out and have fresher ones than Ross, which could be a big advantage. He's already run a couple more laps than has Ross, so we'll see how this plays out.
Well, Kyle ran a 2:17.9 the last lap, the lap before, and the last lap was a 2:18.5. So he's definitely, the times are definitely falling off.
And I'm wondering, and you tell me, Kevin, are some of the drivers that have pitted, are they maybe taking it a little bit easier on their tires so they don't burn them up right now and have a little bit left for later?
That's a great question, because you look down the leaderboard here, and you've got Ben Rhodes, who ran a 2:16.70. Got Majeski 17.5. So Kyle's in clear track. So it's interesting to think that he would. I would be surprised if he was not going as fast as he could go.
Final lap of stage number 2. Kyle Busch in the 51. He will take the win. 5.2 seconds behind Zane Smith for 2nd and Parker Kligerman.
Lawless Allen with a nice 4th position. Oh no, something's wrong with
Parker Kligerman. Just before the start-finish line, he is slow on the racetrack. Heather.
Zane Smith decided to do opposite what the 51 did, so they're on pit road right now. He said that truck is better in the faster parts of the track, but not as good in the slower areas. They said if Kyle Busch did not stay out there, they would have stayed out to get the stage points, but they decided to go opposite the 51 here.
Thank you, Heather. And Parker Kligerman, there you see him. He was running 3rd at the time. Tough break.
Well, we see the 98 truck made it to pit road before they closed pit road.
And will this bring out a caution? He can't.
Has to.
I can't see him getting up that hill. Do you?
Yeah, something smoking in here. Electrical.
Ah, what a tough break.
See the top 10 in the pylon on the left-hand side.
Oh,
and caution is out.
And that is worst case scenario for Kyle Busch.
Oh, me. But
absolute worst case.
He's got a fast truck. We know he can drive the wheels off of it, and he's going to have great tires. So we'll see if he can overcome this break. Patty wanted to get to pit road for just this case, in case the caution come out before they got there. Kyle elected to stay out. We'll see if that plays out to be in his favor. Yeah. There's Brian.
Oh, they want a pair of glasses. I don't think he's very happy about that.
The guy who came out perfect in this is Zane Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He was on pit road when the caution came out, and he still finished second in the stage.
And the reason why he was on pit road was because Kyle stayed out to win the stage. Zane said, I don't need the points as bad as I need track position. He came to pit road, and now he's going to have the same tires as Kyle Busch, but yet better track position.
And I guarantee if we go on the 98 spotter channel and listen to the radio communication, they were probably talking about that 75 truck being there, and they were telling their driver, I guarantee they were telling their driver, watch the light, get to pit road if you can.
And he did.
Chris Lawson, the crew chief for this truck for Zane Smith.
He is such a good dude.
Such a great guy.
I went down and talked to him this morning. I showed him my ideas of what strategy might look like. He said, yeah, they might look like all that. You're right, Mike. And it might look like a whole bunch of other things as well. And this caution flag is a great example of why he said that.
Absolutely. Well, they've won the last 2 races here with 2 different drivers. Todd Gilliland 2 years ago, and then Zane Smith last year. So we'll see if this strategy will work out for him. Multiple things happen at one time, and this is what happened here.
Wow, they were running in the top 10.
Yeah, and you saw Haley's truck start to bounce right there, and what happens when you get too low right there, it just gets rougher and rougher, and then her entry to the corner was just super straight, and the truck just went straight under braking.
How about Caden Honeycutt? Just gassed it through the gravel there, made his way back out. Haley's definitely had an eventful day. Spent some time in the top 10. Had some damage on her truck, had another issue right there.
So the way this is going to work out is Zane Smith is going to be the leader with the freshest tires. Chastain's got 3 laps less on his tires. And then let's see, we've got Parker on fire, or at least smoking really bad.
Fire, get him out of there. I think he's getting out anyway.
Parker Kligerman had issues in qualifying yesterday, which led them to change the engine and go to the back today. Drove his way all the way up to 3rd, and an issue for Parker Kligerman. His Truck Series day is over. He'll be in the Xfinity Series coming up later. Kyle Busch leads the field here.
Welcome back. Right here is where it's at. I don't need a match, I don't need a lighter, but we on fire, that's a fact. Now you can say I'm out the box, but I will say I'm in my bag. You can't stop me from getting hot, but if they ask, we don't tear it down. We burn it up till danger. I'm dangerous because.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. Well, 2 out of the 3 of us are in here dancing.
You got that
Kevin.
right.
I'm thinking. I'm so geeked out about all of this pit strategy, I can't hardly take it, because I think we have to give credit to Chris Lawson, Zane Smith's crew chief, for making the call that he did. He came down pit road. He's got new tires. He's going to be the leader. He pitted, and he finished second in the stage. And then when you look at Ty Majeski and everything that he has done with his pit sequence, all came down to communication with the spotters and telling their driver, get to pit road, get to pit road.
Finally, Kyle Busch is in the pits. Jamie.
We saw Brian Patty visibly upset, but he remained composed over the radio with Kyle. Kyle ultimately apologizing, saying he was sorry. He was trying to figure out what the tire life was like, and to the best of his ability, he thinks they have 12 to 15 laps before they see any fall off. We have 15 to go. He said, I'm going to do the work. Wallace Allen up pit lane, a little bit of a different story. It's a different attitude. His crew chief, Wally Rogers, said, don't worry about anything. We're running our own race. We're doing a solid job. No adjustments for him. Heather?
And Haley Deegan's also in. When she was under caution there, she said the truck was sputtering just a little bit, so they might have been getting close on fuel. They're going to take the time here, too, to fix the damage on the right front of that 13.
So 5 of the top 10 had to pit there.
And 41 of Ross Chastain, they came to pit road, must still be working on that fuel pressure issue. They thought they had it squared away, but obviously there's still issues.
Yeah, and that's what worried me earlier when they were talking about having to pit, and we saw the truck shut off going down the straightaway. So that's why we were asking so many questions. We thought there might be something here. Obviously, the team didn't lead us down that road completely, but something had to go wrong.
Isn't it kind of fun to be getting in the bed of your truck?
That's not something I've ever seen. Very interesting. They're working on it. Too bad, because he had a great day.
Yes, ask him if it helped filling it up. Was fuel helping at all? No. Did not make any difference. Did not help it. Did not.
Stevie Reeves, the spotter, trying to get the communication between Mike Hillman Jr. and Ross. And the question was simple. Did the filling it up with fuel help anything? And Ross said it did not. And I watched his lap times. They were visibly, like they were probably a second off of what he had been running. So issues in the bed of his truck.
Ross Chastain, class of the field in qualifying, set a new track record, started the day on pole at 10 laps. Had a heck of a battle going with Kyle Busch, but things have gone sideways for this team. Hey, coming up next, it's the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They'll tackle the twists and turns of COTA. Stay tuned and see all the excitement and every heart-pounding lap. That's next on FS1. So if you like what you see now, stay tuned. We have a lot more action coming your way.
I like it. This has been a fun day. Appreciate you joining us, Kevin.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I know where I'll be for the next one. Laying on the couch watching, relaxing. My wife,
Foster.
I hope, is not listening.
He's doing great. He's doing great.
It's hard work.
Zane leading the way.
I was going to say Darren Foster is our director today. Showed us some dogs. He knows that's always one of my favorite things to see.
See him splitting that choose area.
You said it's kind of difficult to see the choose out there, huh, Kevin?
It is, and it will probably become easier after I do that once or twice and under caution. I was just trying to pick it up during green flag, but there will be some signs on the wall. You can see the two triangles over here to the left. I'll circle them. This is to help the drivers recognize where that line is on the racetrack. They put some signs up on the wall to help for blind guys like me.
Hey, there's a few of you that race with glasses now.
I think I started a new trend.
You did.
Yeah.
Because Joey does, and I actually saw Kyle Busch do it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and the funny part is Tony Stewart went through the whole glasses scenario a few years ago, and he used to hide them in his car, and they'd put the window net up, and then he'd put his glasses on and close his shield. I have no worries about hiding anything. If I can see better, I'm happy.
Just means you're experienced. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
What the 17 and Taylor Gray having a heck of a birthday run. Raja Karuth in the 24. Just his fourth race here of his full-time season. Really nice. He's come back from that penalty for cutting the course earlier today. But it's been all about Zane Smith. Everything, as you mentioned, Kevin and Michael, went his way on that last round of stops, that last caution.
What in the world has happened? We were Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain running away with this race. Zane Smith was third, but all of a sudden you look at the front of the field and we don't see Ross Chastain or Kyle Busch. But I can tell you, going into turn one, we know Zane Smith's truck is really good, but we have not seen Ben Rhodes up front. We know he's aggressive. Kaz Gralla, all he wants to do is win. And Taylor Gray, we know he's probably going to go for it based upon everything I've watched him race in the past.
I think this is going to be a really fun restart with Kyle Busch back in the 16th position. You know, he said he had to apologize to Brian Patty about what he did. Watch this guy go. He's going to try to get all those. He'll probably try to get about 10 of them down into turn one. He's down on the inside. This is a great view.
Zane Smith, Ben Rhodes restarting on the front row for the first time. Kaz Gralla, Taylor Gray. Green flag is out once again as they climb that hill into turn one.
Kyle's back in row 8, the black truck that ducks out there to the inside. And then the battle for the lead.
Look at that, 4 wide.
Yeah, Taylor Gray didn't get going right there, and whoever restarted behind him didn't lift, had him sideways, and then said, okay, buddy, you blocked me. I'm going to dive it in right here, and I'm going to use your door to make sure I make the corner.
What about Kyle 3 wide in the middle? As they go through the S's, that won't work.
Kyle Busch restarted back there in 16th.
Oh, and Stuart Friesen gets into the side of Dale Quarterly in the 46, and Corey Heim takes advantage of it in the 11. There's Kyle just ahead. Stewart bumps Heim as they battle.
Sense of urgency, 13 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Zane Smith leads him, Ben Rhodes second, and there is just a gaggle of trucks back here battling around that 10th spot.
Yes, there are. A gaggle is the best word I could think of. This is a mess. Side by side, Chase Purdy with his boss right behind him.
Kyle Busch up a handful of positions since that restart.
He gets on the inside of Purdy, grabs a couple more spots.
Well, and for us, we're lucky that we get to watch this, because when you get someone like Kyle Busch who knows that they were on the wrong side of making a decision on the opposite end of the crew chief's decision and wants to make it up, it becomes exciting passes just like we saw, 2 at a time, and he's going to continue to do that. Only 2 around.
Logan Bearden had a great day going.
Go, go, go.
Go, go, go.
Get it refired. We'll stay green here.
He can sit there for a while to try to get it fired because it's such a long lap.
I like this track map. You can see where Kyle Busch in the 51 is.
That was turn 15 where Bearden had it go wrong. There's Zane with a nice little gap back to Majeski. That time by Kevin, Zane was 0.2 faster than Majeski. Probably really comfortable out in the lead right now.
Yeah, and for Zane, that was 1/10 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. So that clean air and new tires and everything that he's learned throughout the day has kept him on pace with what was his fastest lap of the day.
Kyle Busch now well into the top 10, hammered down. This is fun to watch, and I know these younger drivers who are around Kyle, they like having him in the field so they can watch, they can learn. This is a perfect scenario right here. That 51 truck just makes his way around in 7th spot now, trying to get around Tanner Gray in that 15.
It's a good looking Mobil 1 truck, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, Mobil 1's done a great job this weekend. I've got a beautiful all white Mobil 1 Ford Mustang.
Kyle Busch goes to the inside of Tanner Gray, and he'll make it stick. Takes over that 6th spot.
Well, and he knows he has to go, because right now he's 6 seconds behind the leader, and if there's no caution, he's
toast.
He's pretty much toast.
Look at this battle. Raja trying to hold off Majeski. Good job by Raja. He started off in his Truck Series career at St. Louis, finished 11. I said, this kid's got it going on. Been a tough start to the season this year with some DNFs, some not the greatest performance, but today he's got it going on.
Young driver out of Washington, D.C. Good to see him doing well. Zane Smith continues to lead. 12 laps to go here in Austin.
Craftsman is back.
And to celebrate our return to the NASCAR Truck Series, we're offering racing fans different Craftsman deals throughout the season. Because teams can count on Craftsman tools to get the job done. And now you can too. When you take advantage of the Craftsman deal of the race, you'll save on the tools that'll help you power through your projects. And this deal, well, it's going fast. So scan the QR code now to get the current deal of the race.
The deal of the race brought to you by Craftsman.
I need to try it first.
Ashley's anniversary mattress sale is going on now. Celebrate decades of restful nights with 0% interest for 5 years. Bring home a Tempur-Pedic or Stearns & Foster mattress starting at $34 per month. Or a Purple hybrid mattress from $35 per month. Only at Ashley.
Here and now is when it matters most.
Heavy damage.
Not last month or last week or 48 laps ago when that bumper fell off.
He's done.
Here is where it must be left on the track. The anger, the hunger, the passion, and the drive to do whatever it takes to make it across that finish line first.
Blow those rear tires off, that's bud.
Now is when the future is written in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Sunday on Fox.
Start your engine! I'm gonna light it!
The NASCAR Cup Series takes on the Circuit of the Americas. On this road course, every turn is a battle, and every lap a beast. Whoa. All tracks are built to go fast, but this one was born to thrill. The Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix, Sunday at 3 Eastern on Fox. There's a thin line in the NASCAR Xfinity Series between being a name they know and being a name they'll never forget.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. Zane Smith continues to lead. Ben Rhodes and Kyle Busch picked up another couple of spots. He's back there in third.
Zane just ran his fastest lap of the race. What do you think about that, Kevin?
I love it because I want him to go as fast as he can because Kyle Busch is coming. We need as big a lead as possible. Right now he's 6.2 seconds ahead, but rhythm. This racetrack is so much about rhythm and how you use the throttle pedal and everything that comes with it. So
nice move there by Tyler Ankrum. He was able to get on the inside of Taylor Gray.
The leader just crossed the finish line. That means we've reached our Craftsman 10 laps to go.
And that seems like such a short amount of time. But you know what, guys? It's over 20 minutes.
That's right. I was just thinking like 10 laps at Bristol.
Yeah.
That's 2 minutes.
Yeah. It took me a while to add that up in my head.
That was pretty good.
It was a little slow. That's why I had to pause.
Okay.
Well, and I just kind of made up 2 minutes at Bristol. I think that's about right. It seems like it.
Something. It depends on which car you're driving.
Well, remember, this circuit here is 3.4 miles, 20 turns. So it takes a while. So stick with us. Plenty more racing, I think, is what Kevin was getting at.
I was out on the track this morning, and I'm telling you, I have so much respect for the drivers anyway. But by the time I was about on turn 13 or 14, I'm like, where the heck am I? How much more is left? I got a wet car this morning, Jimmy.
All right, here we go. Mike, tell us where we're going. You know where we're at?
Yeah, we're going down the back straightaway.
Okay.
We just left turn 11.
Fastest part of the racetrack as they enter turn 12, 160 miles per hour.
How cool is that? 160 down to what, 40? Do you see what's straight ahead? A Ferris wheel. I like it when they have those at the track. Oh yeah, and by the way, that's the leader up there that you can barely see.
Zane Smith with about a 4-second lead over Ben Rhodes, and then Kyle Busch back there 6 seconds behind. Let's listen to Ben Rhodes' radio.
We should be able to make it with that caution that was out there, right? Copy.
Did I hear that correct, Mike?
Yeah.
They're in trouble.
They pitted on lap 21. We thought that was a bit pushing it to get all the way to the end. Man.
So if we make it to the regularly scheduled distance, they believe they will be okay, and that Ben Rhodes can.
I heard that wrong. The great thing about that camera view is you hear the engine and the rev limiter and all that stuff happening over the bumps, and gosh, that's a great view because it puts into perspective how violent it actually is. But this guy, Zane Smith in the 38, he is just smooth as glass, running fast lap times. He fell off a little bit that lap, but just needs to put solid lap in, lap after lap after lap, and he'll be fine.
Let's get an update on the leader, Heather.
And Kevin, you just mentioned it. Zane Smith out there really comfortable here on these road courses. He told me earlier this weekend that it's almost like an off weekend for him. This type of racing is like second nature for the 38. And now they are updating him on where Kyle Busch is on the course. They just said he was about 2 tenths faster that lap, but they're telling him to focus on his marks and hitting them precisely. Jamie Howe?
The last 2 laps, Kyle Busch is turning lap times that are quicker now than Zane Smith's. This is the sweet spot of this tire life that he was talking about. This is why he made that decision not to pit when his crew chief Brian Patty told him to make that pit stop. He wanted to figure out what it was he was going to have at the end of the race. We'll see if he can make up the time now. It's closing down. It's down below 6 seconds. We'll see.
Well, Kyle was on fire there when he restarted 16th. He's made his way up to 3rd, but hard to make up some ground here on these front 2 drivers.
He's not going to catch Zane without a caution.
Yeah.
But he certainly is going to make it interesting. I shouldn't say that. Zane makes one mistake.
It could tank. Yeah. But, you know, we saw Ross's truck. He had the fuel issue earlier. We thought he was tanking, but we've seen some of these trucks. Kyle Busch's truck at the end of that last run, it just tanked, and he lost a second, 1.2 seconds of lap time. So you never know.
Yeah, I shouldn't say he's not going to catch him because Kyle Busch does special things, and one slip by Zane Smith, and you know he's right there.
You know, we get asked this a lot. If you look at those windshields, some have the black background of Craftsman, some have the red. The red means they're full-time in this series. If it's black, like on Ross Chastain's truck, that means they're part-time. So that's just for the viewer to distinguish who's running for points and who's just here to have fun and win.
Well, I learned something. Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome. There's that beautiful flyover we heard just a little bit ago, right, Michael?
Yeah, I love the flyover. I've never seen it happen on lap 30, but it was still fun.
Practicing for tomorrow, I believe.
There's Ross. He's rallied up to the 11th position after his issues on pit road. The guys in the bed of the truck, just ahead there of Nick Sanchez, Stuart Friesen. Got some good stories inside the top 10. Kaz has surfaced into the 5th position in his truck. Just outside the top 10, there's Ross.
Tyler Ankrum in the 16 found his way back to the top 10. Raja Karuth, Tanner Gray, Corey Heim in 9th, and Taylor Gray. Yes, they are brothers. That rounds out the top 10. But Kevin, this leader, Zane Smith, you know, last year, people didn't realize his background was in karting on road courses. So when he came here, he wanted to show people what he's capable of, and he did. He went to victory lane. But you're familiar with this kind of background.
Yeah, Zane and I had a conversation a few months ago, really into last year. And I had no idea, but he's on the same, Keelan is on the same path that Zane went on, and that is kart racing in Europe. And, you know, doing it at a level of, on the international level, that is a firm commitment. So he has a huge background in road racing and has a great upbringing in karts.
And his crew chief is great at the strategy call as well. So it's all working for Zane Smith.
I love that he got second in the stage, pitted, got his track position, got his tires. Everything worked perfectly.
That's always the question. Can you have it all? Yes, he did.
And that's what we talked about earlier, right? You have to have a little bit of luck and have to have the cautions and things fall your way to win these races. So the only thing that can make it go the wrong way right now is another caution flag.
So this is the battle heating up here for second. Ben Rhodes has a mirror full of Kyle Busch.
He got to Rhodes in a hurry, Jamie, but he just hasn't been able to do anything with him yet. Ben's doing a really nice job wearing our driver's eye cam and has that thing right up there in the second spot. And then there's Ty Majeski back in the 4th spot. Just steady and consistent, not really a road racer, but just there all day long.
Solid day. They made a great adjustment to their strategy, and here he sits running 4th, and that'd be a great day. And sometimes that's just what you want to achieve on the road courses. Let's put ourselves in position to have a solid day, get a little bit off strategy, do something different, but then just don't make any mistakes when we have things fall our way and we put ourselves in the top 5. And that's exactly what Ty Majeski and his team have done.
Such a great story with Ty Majeski last year, first time full-time in the series, and he made it to the championship 4. And when you look at a driver like him, his background is not road course racing, and he figures it out, and he finds a way to be fast and be good no matter where we race. And that's what it takes to win a championship. So I would say right now, Ty Majeski is one of those favorites going.
He's a racer.
Oh,
that's exactly what you're saying. He's just a hardcore racer and can drive anything.
Good battle here for second.
Pass back. Inline tight, going to be looking left.
Got to run.
Tight.
Kyle Busch all over Ben Rhodes.
Wow, Ben drove it in that corner deep. I thought Kyle had the spot.
See on that map exactly where the leader is, the 38, and then where Kyle Busch is in the 51.
Yeah, and in theory, Kyle Busch, you know, he's got what? It says 7 laps, but he's probably got 5. In theory, he should have a pretty easy time getting by.
There he is, side by side.
Tough.
Looked like a little contact there, but Kyle Busch gets him. Kyle moves into second. Ben Rhodes back to 3rd.
What about the spotter? Anya hitting you?
Yep.
He's past you.
Contact.
8 tires are better than 4.
That's right. That's a good run, though, for Ben. He won Daytona road course, so we know he can get it done on any type of track. Kid from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, Kyle lost a little bit of time getting that position, but on the last lap, he was a half a second faster than Zane Smith. Heather?
And I mentioned earlier today how Ben Rhodes was not happy with how he qualified and was frustrated with how he did in practice, but he did tell me one thing that he had on his side is he is very comfortable with this racetrack. He knows where to hit his marks. He did, however, say there's a couple different sections that you could do and hit differently, so he doesn't feel like he's ever found that money lap type of run on any of his races here at COTA, but today it sure looks like he might have figured something out.
Absolutely, and Zane Smith just crossed the start-finish line. That means 6 laps to go.
I'm in conservative mode if I'm Zane Smith, and if I'm Daniel Dye, I'm pretty proud of what I've accomplished today. He started in the back. He's raced his way inside the top 20. Same thing happened to him last week, Jamie. He had some issues under the hood. They got it fixed, and he drove to a top 20. So as a kid like Daniel making his first truck starts of his career, it's really cool to see him just persevere, push through it, and get some results.
The 19-year-old out of DeLand, Florida, carrying that on board for us, doing a nice job. And it's a lot to learn when you go from the ARCA Menard series, move up to the truck series, and all these different styles of tracks, just trying to figure it out. So he told me he had never done simulation for a race before until this one.
Wow.
So he expected to run better. He said, I realized the mental game of racing, it's not about having fun and just getting in. You've got to work at your craft, and he's done it for this day.
Well, I'm glad you said something about the mental game of racing, because it is very mental. You think of a lot of other sports, and everybody talks about the mental games and the mental mindset. Racing is the exact same way. You have to be in the right mindset. I don't want to talk too much because we've got a good race happening here. Yeah.
What about the grays? 2 shades of gray.
The brothers battling. Taylor Gray and Tanner Gray. This is fun. The two grew up racing together. Tanner, though, used to race in a straight line. He raced in the NHRA.
Oh, he's going to get the best
of side. Sorry, little bro.
That is awesome battle.
Come on, Tanner, it's your brother's birthday. No thanks. What Tony say back in the day? I wrecked my grandmother to win this race. You wreck your brother to move forward, right?
I've done that. I wrecked 2 of our KHI cars one time to win at Montreal in an RCR car. My wife was not happy.
Hard for them to be mad at the owner, but
I did my job.
What a battle this has been.
Smooth sailing. It's 5 to go here. Zane Smith continues to lead. What a day it has been for him.
Kevin, what's this like? Zane Smith, 5 to go. He's thinking to himself, no caution, no caution. He looks in the mirror and sees Kyle Busch. How much is he paying attention to Kyle, or is he just making lap time?
I think he's just making lap time, but the one thing I did notice right there going up that hill is Kyle Busch going around that bump into the brake zone. He kind of moved to the left a little bit to go around the bump and not have the bump affect the driving of his truck under braking. But Zane is just in a rhythm, and that's goes right into tune with what this racetrack is. Being in a rhythm, doing what you have to do. Last lap, he matched Kyle Busch's lap time within a thousandth of a second. That's all he needs to do, right? Just put the truck in the right spot. Don't overdrive it. Don't spin the tires. Just do what you have to do, and you're going to win this race if the caution doesn't come out.
Nice to see Ben Rhodes having such a good run. He's had a good couple of races in a row. He's got a new crew chief this year, and Jared Prince. ThorSport, they mixed up the crew chiefs a little bit this year, and you never know if it's going to stick. Chemistry has a lot to do with things, but I think this is a great pairing. He had a good run here last year, but he's running 1 position better than he did in 22.
I'll tell you something interesting, and I'm not going to call Zane Smith and tell him. In 6 of the last 7 road races, the final green flag run was 3 laps.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, boy.
He is not going to want to hear that.
That's right. He's not. But if the caution flies, he's going to have to roll up them sleeves and go door to door with Kyle Busch.
And I'll promise you that's not a surprise to any of the crew chiefs sitting on the pit boxes, because they all have the stats. We have the percentages of cautions. We have the percentages of green flag runs, yellow flag runs, when to pit, when not to pit. Whether 4 tires are better than 2 tires, whatever it is, they have the information on that pit box. So they're seeing it. Just don't tell Zane.
There's so much going on in those pit boxes. I wish that when you're pit reporting, you could show it and talk about it, but that whole team chat thing that you guys always have, people are scanning other teams. They know exactly what they're saying and when they're going to pit. There's just so much information. I don't know how you figure out what you need and what you don't in order to win the race.
Chris Lawson, Brian Patty, the 2 crew chiefs that are going to go head-to-head for this win, it looks like. And they're all thinking about the stats and wondering what their plan will be, how they will go win this race if they do have to line up and do a restart.
Zane Smith in the 38 kicked off the season with a win once again at Daytona. And he's like, we can't just put that in the bag and say, hey, we've got to win. Let's go out and learn some stuff. It's hammer down. We need to focus. This is a small team. They don't get a whole lot of equipment. They don't have a ton of resources. And I talked to him about that, and he said they're going to bring 2 new trucks this year. And this last year was one of the trucks he got to choose as a brand new one, and it worked. It went to victory lane, so they kept it, and now we'll see if he can make it 2 for 2 here.
Well, it puts you in a great position for the rest of the season because you can get more aggressive and you can try things after you get to victory lane, because you know you're in the playoffs and you're going to be racing for a championship, and then it becomes, how can I get better? See Ross Chastain there right in the dirt in turn 8. You want those right side tires to be hooked on the left side of that sidewall of the tire, pull you around the corner right up the hill if you do it right.
You know, we talked about 3 guys that we thought we would be talking about all day at the beginning. It was Ross Chastain, it was Kyle Busch, it was Zane Smith. Ross had some issues in his trunk with his fuel cell, and then Zane just made the perfect pit stop. They pitted right when they needed to, and Kyle was a lap late on that. So that's how these three trucks that we felt like would be dominant have wound up where they are right now, with a big advantage to Zane.
I'm so impressed that Ross Chastain has bounced back after those issues. He was on pit road quite a while, and now here he is running up there in 7th.
Well, kudos to the crew. Yeah, they
figured it out.
Yeah, they fixed the fuel pressure issue in the trunk under caution.
And then another shout out to Ben Rhodes, because his tires are older, but yet he's hanging right in there with Kyle Busch. There's Ben.
Wow, that's violent.
Let's listen to how violent it is, and listen to how he works the gas.
Well, this is coming off the last corner, turn 20, and you're going to see going into turn 1 up here. Right when you want to push on the brake zone, you'll hear the truck jump.
Oh, there it was.
Coming into turn 1, there'll be another big jump right here.
There it is.
Clean that back up right there. 137.96. Out back is a 47. Clean that up a little bit here. Nice and smooth. Don't overdrive it here, bud.
3 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Had 5 different leaders, 9 lead changes, 3 cautions today for 5 laps. I think it's been the perfect amount.
Where are you at right now with your brain, Kevin, bouncing around like this all day long? I mean, that's a lot to deal with.
It's hot. You're bouncing around all day. It is a lot to deal with. And the biggest thing you want to do is just minimize the mistakes. How do I lose the least amount of time? I don't want to make a mistake to where I lose a second. I want to make a mistake to where I lose a 10th. So you have to have the visual markers. You have to have the rhythm and the flow with the throttle pedal and the brake and everything that happens from lap to lap. And you have to make the adjustment from the lap before. You know, if you made a mistake we're coming up to turn 12 right there. If you made a mistake in 12, okay, let's make the adjustment this lap to get in a little less or let off the brake a little sooner, and that's constant throughout the race.
Such a mental game, as you mentioned. Ross giving a wave out the window to Corey Heim. Thanks for the respect. I'm going to go see if I can catch Tyler Ankrum getting the top 5. That's Chastain's mentality.
That was a battle for 6th. Chastain won that, so Corey Heim moves back to 7th. A lot of these trucks with some damage.
Yeah, it's such an adjustment. You know, Ross is in the position where he's in that mindset of, okay, I need to maximize my day to get the most points for my team, because when you know you can't lose, you just can't quit. You got to get every point that you can. I know Ross is not racing for points in the Truck Series, but how many times have we talked about, oh, that guy missed the playoffs by a point, that guy missed the playoff by 2 points. Whatever the scenario is, you have to maximize the day. And this team has done a great job in just keeping themselves running, and Ross coming back to put himself in the top 5 so far.
See your leader, Zane Smith. 2 laps to go here at Circuit of the Americas. Can he hang on and bring it home for the 2nd straight year in a row? Can Kyle Busch close that gap at all? He's right now just under 5 seconds behind the leader. And Ben Rhodes in 3rd, Ty Majeski in 4th, and Tyler Ankrum. Really nice run for him today, top 5.
Yeah, you see there on the pylon just outside the top 5, Nick Sanchez, 8th, got that great finish at Atlanta after a couple of problems in the first 2 races, and now a solid run for the 2 truck as you see him here making his way up the track. Gain bridge on that 2 truck. Beautiful truck. Good job for Nick.
Another driver who came up racing go-karts on road courses from Miami, Florida. So background in road course racing, but again, he's brand new to the truck series. So just getting used to everything. Live pit stops, a lot of things for these drivers to take in. And he's just run with it this year and does everything he can to get better.
Well, and this is the best way to get better. You put yourself on the racetrack in competition, and you see things that are happening from your competitors, where to be on the racetrack, and when you get home, you say, okay, I wasn't good under braking. I didn't do a good job managing my tires. I did a great job at this. Whatever it is, you have to be able to analyze yourself. You have to be honest with yourself to say, I need to get better here, here, and here. I did this good. Okay, if you win today, you still have to analyze yourself like you lost. If you lose today, they have to all be the same. Every week, you have to be able to improve yourself and be open-minded to making things better.
Coming to 1 to go. Here's a nice battle for a spot in the top 5. As Ross is trying to heat up Tyler Ankrum.
Now we go super speedway racing. They say it's an opportunity race. A lot of people call a road course an opportunity race. And you look at the stats, 18 different winners in the last 18 road course races. I don't know, Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, both won last year. So I'm thinking maybe that streak comes to an end today.
Opportunity 500. And unpredictability. We talked about that at the beginning. And strategy, it's all played out a whole lot like we thought it would.
Zane Smith, no friends around him as the white flag comes out.
Yeah, right now he's just thinking to himself, all right, I can see where Kyle is in my mirror. All I need to do is just keep this thing in between the lines, not make any big mistakes right here. When I come to the S's right here, make sure I have myself plenty of room to not be in position for a penalty. And it just all went their way. You know, they put themselves in position, like you said earlier, Jamie, to capitalize on that caution flag and be on pit road and still get the stage points. And, you know, Kyle's team was on the other end of the spectrum. They didn't pit at the right time and put themselves behind. And that's really what put Zane in position to be in contention to control this race, was the pit stop. It all came down to the pit stop. And we talked about that before the race started. A lot of what's going to happen today is going to happen on top of that pit box.
But some good news for Kyle Busch. He might have gotten beaten anyway, because the last time by about a half a second faster was Zane Smith, and he's got a 5-second lead. So that is a really fast 38 truck. Everything worked out, but Kyle might have come up short anyway.
We heard from Zane Smith at the start of the show, and he said, you know, I feel like the truck was a little bit better in some areas last year. I don't know. He led 11 laps last year, and he's already led 15 laps today. So I'd say in race, it's been a little bit better.
A lot of Zane Smith time here today. Chris Lawson on the pit box making perfect calls. And this kid has driven a perfect race.
23-year-old out of Huntington Beach, California.
There's Chris.
Won the last 2 straight races here in Austin. 2 different drivers looking to do it again.
All good. That's what you want to hear on the last lap. Nice gap.
He got a little roughed up. He's got some damage on that truck. He had to earn it. And here he comes, the last turn. The 38, Zane Smith. He'll win it at Circuit of the Americas. Back to back for Zane Smith. Kyle Busch brings it home second. Ben Rhodes on the front stretch. I believe he is out of fuel.
Driveline just came out of Ben Rhodes' truck here on the front straightaway. They need to throw a caution flag.
Everybody's having to avoid. He's dropped some debris on the racetrack as well. Ben Rhodes limping it up the hill as the 38 of Zane Smith burns it down. There's that debris right there before the start-finish line.
He was able to coast across for a 10th place finish.
End of the race, caution comes out. Zane Smith, Kyle Busch Ty Majeski brings it home third. Tyler Ankrum and Ross Chastain with a top 5 after all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that need to thank their crew today. Ross Chastain, Zane Smith, Ty Majeski. Those guys all did a great job on pit road.
No quit. And he'll take that nice long lap around to wave to the fans. What a day it was for Zane Smith. Let's 16 laps. Did what we expected. I think the one question we had was how good would Kyle Busch be and how good would Ross Chastain be?
Yeah, we talked in the pre-race show about what do we do to beat Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain. Well, every box was checked by the 38 crew and driver, and that's exactly how it happened. Perfect strategy, great driving, fast truck, and now you get to celebrate.
Second win of the season for Zane Smith, Chris Lawson and company. So let's see exactly what happened here with Ben Rhodes.
Stuff started falling apart, Jamie. Driveline issues, look at all that.
Oh my goodness.
Man, I'm just surprised he's able to coast all the way up that hill, aren't you?
Yeah, that is a long ways that he coasted. Luckily, it's a little bit downhill.
We've had that happen before, huh, Kevin?
I'm telling you what, that is one of the scariest things that can ever happen, and you hope that it doesn't come through the sheet metal. Luckily, NASCAR's done a great job. You see the grooves, and there's 2 big iron loops that go around to protect that driveline from coming inside. Years ago, they used to just fly through the sheet metal, but luckily today, those big steel hoops are in there to protect it from that.
Could have been a much worse outcome for him, but it happened just coming into turn 20, and he brings it home for a top 10. Kyle Busch wondering what could have been if he had pitted a little bit earlier.
I don't know that enough people, you guys do a great job of covering it, but I don't know that everybody outside of the Truck Series garage really understands how good Zane Smith is, because every week, even when their truck's bad, all of a sudden they wind up in the front, in contention, winning races that they probably don't have the fastest truck. And that's when you really know you have things together. When you can win races that you don't have the fastest truck. He was in contention today, but they did a great job of putting themselves in position and didn't make any mistakes. But week after week, they do it.
You know, and Zane Smith, he raced in the Daytona 500 with the same crew chief, Chris Lawson. He'll do a handful more. Other people are seeing what you're talking about in Zane Smith, seeing that talent, that potential.
Well, just think about this. In 22, Zane was a truck champion. He got his first 2 wins of the year at Daytona and COTA. What has he done this year, Jamie?
Well, he won at Daytona. He's won at COTA. It's like a carbon copy.
What kind of message does that send to the competition?
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Oh. We're going to light them up, aren't we?
This is fun.
Smoke them if you got them.
Jake Blau getting all that action. He's always right in the mix. Cameraman, we've got the best on the job. All the cameras. How fun is that?
It's fun for everybody but the team owner.
Back it down. Zane Smith climbs from the truck. NASCAR waiting with that checkered flag. Gotta love seeing your team right there to greet you when you climb out of that truck or your car, Kevin.
Well, they're the guys that you race with week in and week out, and you spend as much time with them as you do your family. So when you could accomplish something by beating all the other teams as a group and being able to do the things that it takes. Uh-oh.
Oh,
now we got a fire.
That was impressive.
We found a good reason to never put those mud flaps on there again.
They're kindling.
They're not fireproof.
He literally burned them down right there. They need a fire extinguisher right away, ASAP.
Both of them are on fire, Mike.
Oh my gosh, you guys don't want to burn down this truck. I think it's too good. Not good.
We have found a flaw in the mud flaps.
I would leave the area.
Yes.
If I were in there.
A lot of celebrating going on, but also NASCAR trying to get to the situation. There it is. fire extinguisher. That was wild. I've seen some fires, but nothing like that after burning it down. Well, let's hear from our winner. Here's Heather DeBow.
And Zane Smith burns him down there. Not the burnout. I don't think you expected that. We'll take a step over here, but you go back-to-back here in Austin. You guys played out a perfect strategy there, but was there anything that you were fighting in the truck or anything that went wrong for you today?
Besides catching on fire in Victory Lane, that's a first for me. Man, that's a bummer right there, but man, just a shout out to everyone at Team FRM, Chris Lawson for that amazing strategy right there. That worked out for us good with that caution, advancing us in front of the 41. Shout out to my pit crew, man. They've been awesome all this year. It's been so awesome having them, but and then obviously the strategy, putting Kyle back there, and us starting on the front row is just perfect. So just so cool for Speedco, Peak, all of our partners on this truck. The Speedco F-150 was fast there when it mattered, and I just enjoy so much coming to all the road courses, especially here, and it's so cool. FRM is undefeated here, so just a true testament to this team. And like I said, that was probably the most hectic Victory Lane celebration I've ever had.
Now, Kyle Busch was running you down there at the end. You had about a 6-second lead, but they told you to race the racetrack. But at any point, did you have that in the back of your mind that they were coming after you there at the end?
Yeah, I mean, once we got to that 8 to go point, and I got told Kyle was in second, the heart rate went up a little bit, just because he's so good at managing his stuff and going when it matters. So I was just trying not to make any mistakes. Made a couple there with around 5 to go, and road courses in general, once you lock up, it's 10 times easier to lock up again. So was just focused on that, but apologize for catching the truck on fire in Victory Lane.
All right, Zane Smith, your winner here at Austin for the 2nd year in a row.
And Kyle Busch now debriefing just a little bit on what happened out there on the racetrack. He's got blisters on that right hand. You've got the Rowdy blocking him right now, but the decision not to pit after Brian Patty made the call in, knowing what you know now with hindsight, would you have done something different?
Yeah, of course, duh. You know, truck racing, for me, whenever I'm the first one on pit road, then you get a yellow and it traps you a lap down, but you're at a road course, so it's different here where it doesn't really do that, but you want the freshest tires at the end as you can get. So you kind of want to see the rest of those guys pit first, especially with a big lead that you have. You have time, you have track position to give up with them having new tires that then you can put on your new tires and drive back out. So we're playing the long game, and unfortunately the long game didn't work. So they got lucky today and beat us.
Certainly closed the gap, though.
I venture to say Zane Smith and company were a little bit more than just lucky today, but I'm sure frustration for Kyle Busch. Stick with us. We've got a lot more coming from COTA. Of course, we've got race day coming up and the Xfinity Series. We'll wrap it up here from COTA. Stay with us. In just 3 weeks, real football for real fans is back. The 2023 USFL season opening kickoff weekend starts the new season on April 15th and 16th. That's on Fox, NBC, and FS1. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. I know fans jonesing for more football, so there you go, just 3 more weeks.
USFL is awesome. Denny Hamlin said it best, I think. He said, man, it's just like the NFL, but with less rules. And he really likes it.
We like less rules. That's definitely a good thing. Let's take a look at the playoff leaderboard as it stands now after 4 races. Zane Smith with his 2 wins on top of the board, defending series champion. It's a carbon copy of last year.
Well, that's dangerous for the rest of the field because it's played out the exact same way that led to a championship last year. And you know those guys a year later have more experience and better. So they're just apparently doing exactly what they did last year.
You see Matt DiBenedetto there in 8th. He had an up and down day, did not end where he wanted to. More to come here as Zane Smith celebrates. Well, I don't know about all of you at home, but we certainly had fun. And at the end of the day, look at that, man. Look at the chain. I love this. Craftsman is doing this for each winner this year. That just looks cool.
I'd wear that out tonight. That looks good.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe
We're in Austin. You're supposed to get weird.
Yeah, maybe I'm aging out.
That's the difference in personalities right here for sure. Hey, we hope that you enjoyed it. We thank you for being with us today. And Kevin, it's been awesome having you here. Your first road course time in the booth, right?
Well, that was entertaining because I love being able to tell the story of the race with things that are happening. And today, the guys on the pit box and the drivers and everything that happened with the cautions and the way that the strategy worked out, strategy won the race today. I mean, Zane and his team did a great job, and their truck was decently fast. But in the end, that last pit call to come down one lap before Kyle Busch and the caution come out, get the stage points for stage 2, and win the race, gave him the track position on the restart to make it happen.
Well, Ben Rhodes carrying the driver's eye camera. I love that. You saw him bounce around. He bounced around so much, he finally bounced the drive shaft out of it. Yes. But that just shows you what a job these drivers are doing, how tough you got to be on a hot day to take all that G-forces and keep your brain in the game, and that's exactly what Zane Smith did. He kept his brain in the game, drove a perfect last segment of the race, and went to victory lane.
Everything worked out for him. It certainly was fun. He continues to celebrate. We'll be back to COTA to wrap things up from the Truck Series. And oh no, I win and I burn it up. It has been such a beautiful day. Just a few clouds in the sky, about 81 degrees. Humidity is low. You couldn't ask for better conditions for racing. And the great news is we've got another race coming up. But as far as the Truck Series goes, next Saturday right here on FS1. Race day at 3:30 Eastern and the Truck Series from Richmond. Looking forward to that. Actually, they'll be in Texas and we'll be in Richmond on Sunday for the Cup Series. Still to come today, though, NASCAR race day coming up after us, and then the Xfinity Series at 5 p.m. All the pictures for Zane Smith and his team. What a day it's been. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. Kevin Harvick, thank you for being here. For Michael Waltrip, Jamie Howe, Heather DeBoe, I'm Jamie Little. Thanks so much for being with us. Congratulations, Zane Smith is your winner. Race day coming up next after the break, and then Xfinity Series action.